You're up and it's still dark. Kick back with a cup of joe. You know you've got friends waiting on 1620 The Zone. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Connor and Mike. Listen on the radio stream or YouTube or podcasts. Anytime it feels right. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Happer and Schaefer. Happer and Schaefer.
Welcome into another edition of Schaefer and Severe on the Happer and Schaefer Show. I am Mike Schaefer. I am not Connor Happer. Connor Happer is not going to be on 1620 today or 1620 tomorrow. Hopefully, he is on Yacht Rock at some point in time.
Last I checked, though, there is no rain in the forecast for today.
Look at that.
So there should be a game played, but there could be two games today if Creighton loses.
So there could be 3 games today.
No, there's 3 games, but
Okay.
there's the first 2 first-round games,
Yeah.
but the losers game plays tonight at 7.
Right.
If they win, they just play tomorrow.
I thought they could actually
So-
play 3 games
so-
today. I was like, oh my God.
That would be a lot of
So
baseball
what was
on one day.
originally on the schedule was obviously the first 2 games yesterday, and then losers play first, and then winners later in the
Sure.
second day.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
Friday was supposed to be for the winner of the losers game, and then losers of the winners game.
Yeah, that's
Then
not
you get-
complicated at all. Yeah, go ahead.
Not very complicated.
Cook, kid.
But now they're going to add
Yeah.
more games on Friday because nothing was played
But
yesterday.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
to recap, Creighton baseball had a game scheduled at 1:30 on
Originally,
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Right? Wednesday, yep.
the first game time was at 1:30.
1:30, yep.
Then it was moved to 10 a.m.
That's correct.
Then it was moved to 11 a.m.
Yes.
Yep.
Then it was postponed to 7:30.
Real quick, 11:15. There was
11
delay to 11:15.
Okay,
Yeah,
so delayed to
11:15.
11:15.
Yeah.
Then it was moved to what did it,
6:30.
6:30 Central.
Then
Then it was delayed to
7:02.
7:02. Yep.
And then they called it.
They called
right?
it. Yep.
Yeah.
We called it at probably 6:45.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
it was we got off
Yesterday
the segment
morning?
with Connor
Yeah.
and we basically were
Yeah, they're
like,
not playing any games.
playing.
No.
I had looked at the radar and I was like,
There's
moving it
more green.
up isn't going to do anything for you.
Way too much green.
Move it to a dome, you've got a shot.
Hey, there
You
you,
know,
go.
like
Or
that's-
a different city
That's your
in a different state, maybe.
well, they want to keep it at Prasco Park, which is apparently the happiest place in the world, according to Happer.
Is it really?
Yeah, I guess I don't understand how this works, but there's not like admission to the Big East
Oh,
tournament.
you told me that. And weren't
Yeah.
they giving away food at one point
Yeah,
too?
that's what I heard. I
Wow.
heard that they
Like
were giving
the
away
concessions
food.
were free.
Well, like there's just this huge benefactor for the Big East tournament, which is why they have it there.
I like it. Finally, Warren Buffett's doing something for sports. It's about time.
Finally,
Can I make a request?
yeah, go for it.
I need a second verse. I need a second verse to the Connor and the Happer and Schaefer show song.
You need
Okay.
to talk with Ian.
I know
our
he's
song
my
guy.
neighbor. He lives behind me.
Oh, Ian's your neighbor.
Ian
Wow.
gets my mail because I don't know if you've been in my neighborhood. We all have these tutors that look very much alike.
I have been in your.
And there's this little junk thing that happens where you're coming down Pine and it goes this direction for more Pine, this way for Hickory. And so if you go back his way, we have the exact same house, exact same number, but different streets. And so he gets my mail occasionally and he will DM me and go, I got your mail again. But yes, I need a second verse.
Well, I think Ian was going to make a summer version of
Yeah.
the morning show song. So there's your opportunity right there.
that's
You,
his-
you could
I
do a
think that's
duet
his-
with him or with Stibbs.
Can I do my Jeffrey Osborne voice?
Yeah, you can.
I don't want to air too much of this, but it sounds like there's some difficulty getting Stibbs in the studio. I don't know if he's
Shocking.
being a diva about this.
Oh, I
or-
thought because he was a big guy.
no.
I thought that's what you were talking
I
about.
would
Was having
never.
trouble getting him in the studio.
No,
I'm like in a
no,
small
no.
studio, and you're like trying to yank Stibbs into
I
the
think it's
studio.
because the Mariners have been so bad. He's depressed and doesn't want to leave the house. That's my guess. So
That's the baseball team in Seattle.
Yes, that
Oh,
is.
okay.
You know who the
I was making sure they still there. I
You
don't
know
know.
I'm not talking about literal mariners.
It could
on
be
the high
Mariners.
seas.
He's too big to get in the studio, and he likes people that are on boats.
I only said one of those.
You said I heard both of them. I don't know what you're talking
You
about.
inferred one.
You know what I did? I assumed
You
based off of previous
you didn't
knowledge.
Assume. You inferred.
No, I assumed based on previous knowledge. I assumed because I've seen Stibbs and I've seen Ian's studio that I don't know. Then I get in it together.
I don't like where this went. We appreciate the great work of Michael Stibbs.
What did they say? They say don't. So you shouldn't be doing that. You're shaming people. I'm like, we shame. I'm a Gen Xer. That's all we did was shame people. We woke up in the morning. Our parents shamed us. We went to school. Our damn teachers shamed us. Everybody shamed us. So I'm shaming people.
Society was run on shame for a long
Oh
time.
my god! And, by the way, and I also went to Catholic school, so I got that shaming too.
And
guilted and shamed. Yes,
that's
constantly.
basically what I understand.
You are going straight to hell.
That's what I understand the entire Catholicism to be. It's just
a
guilt
lot of that,
shame.
and also a lot of kneeling, standing, kneeling, standing, sit, stand, sit.
A
sit,
lot of
sit,
knees cracking
sit,
when
sit,
you
stand,
attend
sit. Oh,
a
put down
service.
the little thing at the bottom. Oh yeah, all that stuff. Yeah.
They do it a lot too.
It's three
as someone
times
married
essentially.
into a Catholic family, and like I had been to a couple services. Maybe you
Yeah.
go to a wedding, a funeral, whatever. You go to like just a normal Sunday service. I feel like you're up and down.
You kneel 3 times.
Yeah.
You stand and
I just sit there. I
5.
sit there.
Oh,
And
you don't
I just,
kneel at all.
You know,
So
no.
the main kneeling time is after communion. So you come back after communion, you kneel, you do your little prayer thing, right? But they also kneel earlier when you're going out of the what do you call it? The transfer when you take the water to wine thing. When you're doing that, I forget what it's called. You kneel at that point.
Isn't this
too.
all just part of communion?
Yeah, but there's a word, the transmutation or whatever, from water to wine and body of blood to bread, whatever.
Transformation?
No, it's a bigger word than that. It's like transformation, but it's more of a, hey, it's a Catholic word, so we're going to add 2 syllables on it.
Oh, okay.
I got to look it up. I can't remember what it was. But anyway, that part, I was an altar boy for 4 years.
Grew up Methodist. We used grape juice. There was
no, we had actual, what was it called?
French bread and grape
it's
juice.
just wine. The wine was called.
Where I grew up. So.
Oh, my God. The wine was the cheapest, smelliest wine that you've ever.
You weren't excited about it.
Well, I didn't drink it, but it was always on the priest's breath.
Oh.
Like whenever he talked to you or yelled at you, it was always on his breath.
That's not.
I think it was Manischewitz.
Manischewitz wine?
I think it was Manischewitz. It was this grape wine that had this pungent smell to it.
Man, yeah.
And the bread, so we had those flat wafers.
Sure, yeah.
Have you had those before? You know what they're fun to do?
Throw at people?
Well, they're fun to play quarters with.
You flip them?
We'd throw them to the side, and whoever got closest, won the money. Mm-hmm. And so we were always betting.
Anyway, Jordan would have a blast playing that.
Yeah, and it didn't bounce. So you just had to actually have a good slice on it.
Oh, okay.
A little spin. Yeah, it was good.
Okay.
Anyway, that was church.
All right. Well, look, we're going to be learning things today. It is Thursday here on the Happer and Schaefer show.
Building?
It is.
Yeah. Michael Severe is in. That is who is to my left. Joey Colbert running things as always. As the producer of this show, you can jump in on this show. We want you on this show today.
We need you on this show today.
We have our usual segment on Thursdays. I have an opinion. We want your opinions. We want to know what is on your mind, what you have. I have an opinion on roving gangs of youth that I will discuss here today, which makes me feel really old. I live in Benning.
I know where you live. I'm saying where you live. There are.
No, you'll understand when I.
Okay.
Because
I've been out by your house. I know where you live. I have friends out there. We occasionally take the helicopter out there to Bennington after we fuel it up. And so I didn't know that about the roaming youth.
Yeah, they're.
But they are on bikes though.
Well, we'll get it.
Okay,
they're on
scooters. Awesome if they were on bikes.
We'll get into it.
$2.
So, that's at 8 a.m. today. So if you want to start getting your opinions in, you can do that on the StreamYard. You can do that on the Zone Twitter feed, which of course is powered by our friends at Liquid Trucking. You can text us on the Zone text line as well. You can call in at 402-951-1620 if you want to call in your opinion.
Or 1-800-951-1620. I don't know if it's still that or not. It used to be.
I don't think it is.
Not the 800 number anymore.
I don't know.
We had a Watts line at one point. You know
Are 800 numbers even a thing anymore?
I believe they have 888 numbers now.
Okay.
But hey, did you ever been around a Watts line?
No.
It was a line that was basically allow you to dial long distance for free.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
And they use that a lot in radio and TV reporting. You could call into the Watts line so you can get your IFB.
Yeah,
that kind of
I
stuff.
assume it's a service that you were just sort of paying for.
Yeah, I don't even think it actually.
monthly.
I think Watts is based off of like AT&T or Ma Bell. I think is where that came
Yeah,
from.
that kind of makes sense because you'd be running up quite the phone bill.
You would be, yes, constantly. Yeah, but not with the Watts line.
That's one of those things that like I was on the edge of existence of, like understanding long distance calling, phone bills.
Oh, yeah.
That. Like I had to collect calls if I went to the movie theater to have someone come pick me up, or you would just give a stated time, like you just guess. Like
You remember the commercial?
45 minutes after the 1-800-collect, or
No, the long distance commercial where the guy would basically, you put your message in there, your name, and he would really quick say that something born, it's a boy.
yeah,
Remember that?
I've heard. Yes,
Yeah. And so he would do that so he can get the little in the message. You could put the message that you were actually doing opposed to just your name.
yeah. No, so like that's just like on the periphery of growing up for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I have like a small understanding of it, but it wasn't like a foundational part of growing up.
We could do an entire, or you guys could eventually do one, the edge of growing up, right? And it'll be the thing that you like. If you don't really remember having ashtrays on airplanes,
No,
right?
No, not on airplanes.
Cassette.
Elsewhere, ashtrays were like really common until the early 2000s.
Really? Okay.
When they went out of bars for the most part here in Nebraska. Like
I remember that.
That was the biggest change in smoking. Yeah. And then I grew up with a daddy smoked. And so like I was around it all the time.
Yeah, there was no smokers in my family, so I didn't.
So like I was constantly around it. And so like I didn't really make or think much of it. Like that was just sort of the way that you grew up.
How about cassette tapes?
I had cassette.
Yeah, cassette tapes.
I grew up with cassette tapes. Like I had a Walkman that was like a literal cassette Walkman.
Oh yeah, I had one of those. No 8-track.
One of my favorite purchases as a kid was I bought one of those Walkman that had like it was a digital radio. So you were doing like you could search that way instead of having to sit there and tune it. Oh man, that thing was great. I would get like 106.7 out of Norfolk and listen to like the music or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what the channels were, but I would listen to like national sports talk that way. And I don't know who these people were, but it was just fascinating to me that there was someone that would like be calling in to talk about the Arizona Cardinals or like a team that I was never thinking about early, in like my sports fandom.
What about the Sports Babe? Fabulous Sports Babe.
No.
Where are you in terms of the Fabulous Sports Babe?
I don't know who that
Remember
is.
that? That was really the first truly national all
Jillian
sports
Barbarian or whatever her name is. Who is it?
I don't remember I don't know the Fabulous Sports Babe's name.
Okay.
But that's what she was called. That was her name on the show.
Oh, she was a radio.
She was actually the first sports national. She's before Rome.
Okay.
She's obviously before Dan Patrick, any of those people. She was the one, because Mike and Mike were in New York. They weren't national. But from 38,000 feet or miles above the earth in geosynchronous orbit, we bring you the Fabulous Sports Babe, because she was all over the country. And she had these wild takes, and it was a good show. We all listened to it at some point. I was wondering if that hit.
No, I don't remember that. Like, I wish I could remember the names of these people, because, like, all right, you go up, you go to bed. I wasn't ready to go to bed. I'd throw the headphones on and listen to whatever, I could pick up out of Columbus, Nebraska, which wasn't much.
I used to do the same thing. I think we all did that. I did it when I was a kid, and I would look for all the blowtorches, right? So I would listen to 1200 out of San Antonio. I listened to KMOX out of St. Louis. I would listen to, there's one out of Chicago, 880, I believe. I listened to 870, but when I wasn't in New Orleans, that was WWL. I would just pick up all the blowtorches, and you got sports that way because they'd be live baseball on.
Oh, that was the other thing, is that occasionally you could actually come across live stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like, whoa, this is really cool.
When you hit a game, her name was Nancy Donatellian.
Okay.
Was her name. She's out of Tampa. And she was the first of the syndicated shows in ESPN radio. 1994 is when she started.
That, it's probably within like a 2-year stretch of when I would have first started.
When you would have been listening. Yeah. Yeah, she was all over, man. She was literally coast to coast with her show. And it's a theme. Think about it. We talk a lot about how it's tough for females to break into sports. She was doing this thing all these years ago.
Yeah.
And doing it at a national level, and everybody knew who she was. Yeah. Fabulous Sports
Babe. Learned something.
If you listen to the Fabulous Sports Babe, tell us your best Fabulous Sports Babe stories.
Yeah, feel free. You can.
If you want to do it in the comments.
If you have an opinion, on the
Oh, there
Fabulous
you go.
Sports
There
page.
you go.
You can send that in. 8 a.m. We'll get to that. Here is what we have for the show today. A little bit of a different Thursday. It's been a different week, as I have learned. The week before a 3-day weekend has turned into total chaos.
Everybody's heading out.
There's no organization.
Yep.
There's nothing to it. I applaud anybody getting out of town at this time. Definitely.
My son is leaving right now.
Definitely
He's going,
yeah, you said he's going to Chicago.
going to Chicago. He'll be leaving right now. 6:15. They're picking up.
He's got a big esports tournament.
Esports tournament there in Chicago. One of the guys he's going with, his name is Coke Milk.
Okay.
They all go by their names, their handles.
Their gamer
Please
tags.
tell
Thank you, their
me
gamer
that
tag.
This is not a person that combines like.
That's what his name is, Coke Milk. I don't know why. He's not Laverne, who did Pepsi and Milk.
My gamer tag is Man Bear Pig, just the South
Is
Park.
what?
Man Bear Pig from South Park.
Man Bear Pig
Yes.
from
Yeah.
South Park. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
It's a tremendous 3 episodes of South Park.
I
When
do.
used to
I
watch,
kind of remember it.
those were 3 of my favorite. Like
Yeah.
that was
I didn't watch
Joey,
live. I
that's
went
terrific.
back. I went back and watched a bunch.
okay.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah,
one of
that
those
was
things.
one of my
South Park
first-
was banned for my parents, who were fairly like they didn't really censor a lot.
Mhm.
That was one of the things that my dad my dad always read Time and Newsweek, and there was
yeah,
something
sure.
written in there about how that was basically contributing to the rot of America. And so he saw that I had watched like a few of the episodes, because it started probably 97, 98.
Yeah, right.
Been a
I think
long
I
time,
started
yeah.
sort of when it did, because
Yeah.
it immediately captivated you as a kid.
Sure.
And so he saw that I was watching. He's like, I got to see this before I can make sure if you're going to continue to watch. It got banned, and then the ban was never lifted, but it was just sort of assumed by like a certain age I would
Yeah.
be fine with it or whatever. So it becomes only more tempting at that
Right.
point of like,
Rank these 3 for when. So once you decide to allow Hudson to watch these kinds of shows, rank these 3.
okay,
Okay. Family Guy. Then SpongeBob SquarePants.
okay,
And then the last one you guys just said.
South Park.
South Park.
Yeah.
I don't know, like SpongeBob, I'm assuming, or something like SpongeBob. is
SpongeBob
like,
has got a lot of adult content in it.
really
Yeah,
you don't realize
it
it until you
does.
sit there and watch it with a 7-year-old.
okay.
And you go, oh.
Yeah, I was sort of assuming, like
throw a
around
lot in there.
6 to 8 for that.
Ooh.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how
Yeah.
any of this works.
Yeah.
My parents.
Family
didn't.
Guy, I
Look,
think
I was
22.
watching- Yeah, I was watching The Simpsons by the time I was probably 7 or 8.
We didn't let Miles watch The Simpsons until he was 13.
Yeah.
We said, you can't watch till 13. The day he turned 13, he proceeded to stream for multiple days
What
in
an
a row.
Amazing moment.
He just started streaming them from the
You
beginning.
started like season 1.
Oh, yeah, from the very beginning.
See, that was when it was
We actually had to,
phenomenal.
whatever the streaming service was that had The Simpsons, we didn't have it. We had to order it so he could then proceed to
Oh,
watch.
so there's Disney Plus. Well, I don't know.
It wasn't Disney Plus. It was something
Hulu
else.
maybe had them first.
I don't remember.
I don't
what it
think
was.
they've ever been on
Paramount?
Netflix.
It was something definitely that we did not have yet.
Okay.
And if we're 13, we're talking 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So 7 years ago, whatever had it then.
It's definitely
we
on
had-
Disney Plus now.
It is really?
Yeah.
Oh, that has
I
to
think
be,
it started on Hulu, because Hulu and Disney Plus are basically
Yeah.
going to be the same platform.
and they're obviously in the bundle. You so Disney Plus, if you watch something that's adult content, you have to put your code in.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's a code thing.
Could be.
I'm guessing it is for The Simpsons.
I don't know. Like, I haven't had to set up any adult parameters on my television yet.
Well, you had to
We're
I've
do
done-
it
relatively new
I've
into
done
the
so.
if you
parental
wanted to
thing.
watch any of the Marvel Netflix stuff.
Okay.
So if you wanted to go back and watch Luke Cage or that Jessica Jones, you have to put that on your thing.
For,
It's all
for
adult.
Disney Plus.
For Disney Plus, yeah.
That might just be the way that you have it set up, I'm assuming.
I don't know. I think that's when they decided to put those shows on there, they actually
I forgot
said
that stuff would have moved over from Netflix, which is where it originated.
Mhm.
Because I watched Daredevil.
Yep.
I watched Luke Cage.
Yep. Did you watch
Actually,
Jessica Jones was
I
my
think
favorite
really-
one.
I watched Jessica Jones.
That was my favorite.
Oh yeah, I'm guessing you're a fan of Kristen Ritter.
She's cool. I'm not really into skinny chicks, but the show though, the show in general, I really liked. I thought it was written well. I read I read The Defenders. I read the hero package of Luke Cage or Power Man and Iron Fist. I read that, and then I also knew Jessica Jones because she was married to Luke Cage. So I just liked the show.
I always apprecited that Rosario Dawson would just
The Night Nurse,
pop in,
baby.
yeah, across
Ugh.
all of those.
For kids who are
A big fan of Rosario Dawson.
nerds like myself who read comics a lot as kids, every time they drop something like that in for us, It's a celebration.
Like
I just can't even explain how
just
much
the
it's a
Easter eggs. that
The,
you
the
get
dropping
throughout
in the
this
night.
show.
You're like, wait a minute. She's going to be the night nurse.
Did
and you're
they
just so
ever
excited.
do anything with that?
Well, they actually were going to make a whole nother show. I don't know if you've watched the most recent Daredevil, which was great. It was
I haven't watched any stuff that hasn't been sort of that original Netflix.
Okay, the latest Daredevil, which is the second of the latest, is great, and there are references to the night nurse in it, and because he mentioned someone who's injured and who he needs to call. Eventually, the night nurse does become not a superhero because she didn't have powers,
right?
But she did do a lot of things.
Part of the
the
universe of it. Oh, that's fascinating. All right, well, so today's show we're going to dive into Nebraska picked up a big commitment. We're going to talk about him. We're going to talk about Jeep Wade. He's having a great offseason. I tweeted about this, which naturally the people who just want to be mad about everything, they got mad about it. We're going to have Max Olsen on. He's going to be on earlier than usual. Will be at 7:30 today. So we'll check in with Max Olsen on what's going on in the wide world of college football. Evan Bland joins to talk about Nebraska baseball. We will we'll give an update as to where things are with the Big Ben baseball tournament, who the Huskers are likely to play. I think they're down to just 2 teams that are options at this point. I guess I didn't look to see. Did Washington close it out yesterday, Joey?
I could take a look.
They're up 2-0, 3-0, I think, when I finally fell asleep last night.
Take a look at the score.
And then we'll have Nate Rohr as a special guest in the 9 o'clock hour to talk about Nebraska softball as they take on Oklahoma State in a super region.
He made my my nicest local Nebraska sports guys list.
Nate Rohr?
Nate Rohr
is like one of the nicest
people on the planet. He was right there at the top. I've never heard him. Well, I've heard him criticized before doing games, but I've never heard him say a bad word about anything.
Yeah, no, it's just an exceedingly pleasant individual.
Exactly.
And everyone always has something incredibly nice to say.
Everybody loves Nate Rohr.
Yeah. So to answer your question, Washington did beat Michigan, so Ohio State and Michigan are in the elimination
They play
game.
today. The winner of that will be who Nebraska gets on Friday at 5 p.m.
In our old, this is a Gen X thing, in our old rankings of who are you from Cheers, he's Norm.
Oh, he's Norm.
He's Norm.
Okay.
I think he's definitely Norm.
Would it surprise you to know that I have a passing understanding of Cheers because you sort of can't grow up without at least having a little passing understanding of it when I was born in the era of which I lived?
Sure.
I have never connected enough to feel like I want to watch the show to know more than
I just rewatched it
a
year ago, and you forget how many guest stars were on it, and you forget the game we played on Who You Are and Cheers, and how it had one of the few in the history of TV perfect final episodes.
Okay.
Perfect. Couldn't be any better.
All right.
No
what
notes.
else is on that list?
6 Feet Under.
Okay.
Killed it.
You are the biggest champion. Every time I'm like, I want to start a show, but I don't want to start something that's relatively new. I kind of want to go back to a different era of TV. I think about 6 Feet Under because I know how much you love that show.
2 shows, Oz and 6 Feet Under.
Yeah. Oz I have attempted, and I think I started it at a time where it just wasn't going to take for me. That's another one that I can go back to. It's another classic HBO show.
It's not a comfortable show.
Well, no, it's
a very uncomfortable.
It's not a comfortable setting.
Yeah,
like it's
great,
not supposed
great
to be
actors in it, by the way. You'll see those, including Mayhem. State Farm's Mayhem guy is in.
Oh,
that.
okay,
he's in that too. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. He's one of
the
the prisoners. No, he's a prisoner. He's definitely a prisoner. He is he's a prisoner. What a great show that was.
Yeah.
Every Sunday night, 8:00, you're like, this is coming on.
Okay, so Cheers, 6 Feet Under. What else?
I always say West Wing. I think West Wing's one of the greatest shows of all time.
You know what's weird for me with West Wing? I love West Wing, and then at some point, I just can't keep watching it anymore. Like,
really,
it's one of the few shows where I was comfortable dipping out on. But I got like 5 seasons in, and then I was like, all right.
They changed showrunners.
I think a lot of it for me,
it hurt a lot of people.
Is once you move off of President Bartlett, it's not really,
I think now if you went back and rewatched it, because of how they predicted the future, if you go back and watch now, you're like, oh my goodness, this was pretty good. Seasons 5 through 7 are pretty good.
There's sort of a endearing aspect of that show where it's big crisis for an episode. You're like, well.
And sometimes they lasted
we
3.
live in 2020 times. Like, this is not a crisis.
They're the exact same crises.
Well, that's
what's crazy about it. Like the prediction of the IRS thing that just recently happened. That's in an episode.
Okay.
The episode of obviously the episodes that are 2 different episodes of when they just shut down the government.
Yeah.
Right. That happens multiple times now.
Right.
It hadn't happened yet
Mhm.
when that happened, and it happened the first time under Obama that I remember. But it just has so many episodes that just nail what's currently happening.
Right. I
Nuts.
will say one of my favorite episodes of television ever. One of the greatest episodes of television.
Two Cathedrals.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I mean,
It's incredible.
I get chills when I think about half of that episode.
It's
the
so
different
good.
scenes and all of it. It's
Yeah.
great stuff. All right. Well, this is what today's show is going to be.
Oh, great.
Michael and I randomly bouncing around from thing to thing, and you, the listener, getting to keep up. So this is what we have today. We'll be back. And look, I don't know where we're going to go. I think we're going to talk a little college basketball here to start, and then we'll go from there. So stick around here on Happer and Schaefer. Welcome back here on Happer and Schaefer. I am Mike Schaefer, joined by Michael Severe. Joey Colbert is producing as always. All right, look, it is playoff time, and that means it is time for you to enter online at 1620thezone.com for the peak playoffs giveaway. NBA and NHL playoff season's happening while this contest is going on, which means you can watch all the big games in style with a $250 Twin Peaks gift card given away again here, 1620 The Zone. So get signed up, 1620thezone.com. You guys watch another good Thunder Spurs game.
Spurs won, correct?
No,
Thunder did,
Thunder held on.
unfortunately.
Hold on a second. Are you serious? When I went to bed, they were up 8.
No, I feel
Weren't
like
they?
Joey
swore
might
the
be able
Spurs
to-
were up 8.
No, Thunder.
Thunder kind of controlled the
Yeah,
game
they
and then
controlled the
blew
game.
it a couple
Really?
times.
There was a bit of a cat and mouse game.
Oh, yeah, never mind.
throughout.
Sorry.
Thunder was up, and then the
I got
Spurs
it.
came back. They tied the game. Then the Thunder stretched.
They were
the
up
lead.
8 when I went to sleep. So when you go back and score mobile, whatever you're watching shows you for a second before it does a score. And so yes, they were up 8. My fault.
So I have golf league on Wednesdays, and then my team, we usually go over to a sports bar, and like the game wasn't close, and I'm like getting up ready to leave, and then San Antonio makes like this run, and there's 3 minutes left, and I know I have to get gas before I go home, so there's no way I'm going to get home before the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, I don't know if I trust the Thunder can close this out.
Oh, okay.
So then I'm like, well, I got to stick around to see how this goes. But you also know the last 3 minutes of an NBA game
Takes forever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially
so
when it's
annoying.
close.
I could have used it if Oklahoma City, which won, I think, by like 9. I don't know. What
Yeah, they
I
won
think
by
it's
9.
Yeah.
like they could have closed it out a little earlier for me.
Dude,
They
they've
could've
got
been home a
championship pedigree. Have some
Yeah.
confidence in them.
little.
They
Now
won
they have
last year.
championship pedigree.
They might have championship pedigree. They've still lost 4 out of 5 games, or had lost 4 out of 5 games to this team. Right
Really?
here at San Antonio.
Yeah, but you know what it is now? This is championship time. Spurs have never been there. They
Right,
haven't
Spurs
done
have never
this.
been
Yeah,
there,
it's
and
all
they
about
look like
experience at this
They
time.
look like the team more equipped to handle everything in the first game.
This is what
This series is fun.
here's what I'm most fascinated about, right? Because I'm not watching. I'm most fascinated about the belief that there's never been another unicorn that's been big and dominant. Lou Alcindor walked into the league
Right.
at 7'2" and was unstoppable. Wilt Chamberlain came in the league and they changed the rules. Okay, there's been many of these guys.
Shaq.
This guy's just taller. Shaq came in as a rookie and took his team to the finals. I mean, yes, there's been anomalies who are big guys before. This guy's different because he wanted to be a point guard at 7'5", and so he's got point guard skills. Also speaks fluent English and French. The other guys didn't.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just like in the current body of the NBA with how floor spaced everything is.
Mhm.
He fits in a way that you never could have imagined someone looking like. That's where the unicorn sort of comes in. But yeah, I mean, all sports for the era of which they're in are always going to have players where it's like, how is this guy just an alien compared to everybody else?
No one, and this is not as tall, there was literally no one in the sport for 3 years that could guard Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yeah.
No one in the sport. Like,
I think
Shaq comes in the
okay.
league and like he goes, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. I think Hakeem Olajuwon is the best big man that I have ever watched play.
In the post.
Just
like
in
his
general.
post play in general. Okay.
Just all of it. I
Okay.
mean, the guy was a tremendous passer.
Yeah.
He had all sorts of moves. And again, by the time I'm watching him, he's later in his
He
career.
is, yeah.
But that guy destroyed Shaq.
Yeah.
When people talk
Shaq
about how
talks about it.
dominant Shaq is, it goes
Yeah.
in one ear and out the other for me because the era of the NBA was so
Yeah.
different at that time.
Yeah.
Like what he's dominating.
Yeah.
And the sort of big men like David Robinson has gotten old at that point. Hakeem gets old at that point. Patrick Ewing's old by that point. Like it's a different era of the NBA. It's a different, like there wasn't other big men that were sort of in his level other than like a Mutombo.
Not offensively.
or
Offensively, no.
You know, Morning. Like those guys
Yeah.
were still lesser than.
Mhm.
But when you got Hakeem in his 30s against youthful Shaq just
Yeah.
destroying him every
Yeah.
night.
I used to watch him. We'd go to the games.
Oh my!
down
I think
on Buffalo
like, the
Speedway.
Dream Shake. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
think Hakeem Olajuwon gets forgotten about for
Yeah.
how great he was.
Yeah, and the problem is that we have conversations about centers, and he's a power forward who played
oh,
center.
Hakeem.
Yeah, so he's a power forward.
Yeah, I just think he's a
essentially,
front court
that
player.
played
Like,
center, and so they separate these people
Mhm.
into the greatest centers of all time, and they really say, here are your true centers, right? You go back to Mike and all the way through,
Sure.
and he wasn't that. Like for example, when you were in the post, right?
Was he only not that because he had Ralph Sampson for part of his career?
And not just Ralph Sampson. Once Ralph was injured or away, they had other guys who would
Otis
play
Thorpe was on
the other side. They would
Sure.
play center on defense. Yeah, Otis Thorpe was another forward. He was actually Otis played the small forward position, even though smallest head on a big guy you've ever seen in your life. You ever look at a picture of Otis Thorpe? Little tiny head, giant body, weirdest thing you've ever seen. But there were a lot of guys like that because even the Boston Celtics, they'd have Parrish on one end that would be defending, and McHale would go into the post where Parrish would be traditional center would be, and he would kind of roll out to be a distributor of the passes. So a lot of teams did that. But yeah, Akeem, in terms of being an offensive threat for 3 years, no one could guard him.
Yeah, look, I think that guy could play in any era of the NBA.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Like when people talk about, the players of the past wouldn't be able, like someone as talented as he was, who was good at literally every part of the basketball game. Like he was a great passer. He was a great defender. He was an excellent post player. I think he could have developed an outside shot if he needed to.
If he wanted to, yeah.
Right.
If that was part of the game.
Yeah. And so, I just think he gets left behind when we talk about, like, classically great NBA players. And, like, is he one of the greatest of all time? No. But
I think
if you're talking about one of the greatest front court players, like.
Well, how far down do you think you have to go before you hit Akeem?
I mean, I think you're talking like Wilt and Kareem and Bill Russell and
but I mean, just in terms of the top 10 overall players.
Oh, he's in my top 10.
Okay.
He's ahead of Shaq for me.
He's in my top 10 too.
Yeah. No, look, when I'm saying, like, we're not talking about him in the way that people talk about Jordan and LeBron and et cetera. Yeah. But for me personally, he's an easy top 10 NBA player.
Yeah.
Because again, like, really difficult to defend. He was great at everything that he did.
Yeah.
He made every aspect of the team better. Like he just did.
Yeah, and
if he had a little bit better luck in his career,
and coming up when he came up,
sure,
because you're hitting still some good Lakers teams, right, and you're having that problem.
Some of it is you're at the mercy of who's on the other side of the, like you can, like, this is the Josh Allen equation. He is tremendous. He's also at the same time of the Chiefs run,
Yep.
Like it doesn't always maximize. Like when your team maximizes, someone else is usually doing it at the same time.
I mean, without Jordan, a bunch of other people win titles.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, I think Barkley's a tremendous
Obviously,
player,
he has a title.
That's
with Phoenix. Yeah.
That's one of those guys. But the reality of the sport.
And Wemby, by the way, is, and a lot of people didn't watch him, but a lot of him is what Sampson wanted to be, because they made Sampson a point center. He actually brought the ball occasionally down the court.
Sampson's fascinating.
They would pass him the ball out in the three-point extended area, right? They would distribute off of him. He would feed people. They played high post, low post with him and Akeem. Now, didn't shoot the three, obviously, like Wemby can, and he doesn't handle it, but he could do those things.
Sure.
He was that guy at Virginia.
So what's kind of interesting, we were talking about Chuck Klosterman before the show.
Yeah.
He had this essay at one point in time about how, like, fans regarded Ralph Sampson as almost like a villain because he wasn't the player they wanted him to be.
Yeah.
And so then
people
got mad about like he's wasting his talents and that he's not this dominant inside player when he has all this size, and that
he's the closest. He was 7'4".
He's a less than individual because they had some of these, like at Virginia, they had losses that they maybe shouldn't have had.
They lost to Chaminade.
Yeah. And so it's like, it is sort of fascinating the relationship that people had with this guy because he wanted to be different at the size that it was.
He did.
And nobody would let him do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so then when he would try to do those things and it wouldn't necessarily work out immediately, people rejected it. And then so he's not held in particularly high regard by a certain level of NBA fan. And that sort of fascinates me.
To bring
like
that
being in the wrong era in a weird way, or if he's, if he comes 10 years later, he's viewed in probably an entirely different way.
The game
he's utilized.
The game catches up to him.
Right.
Right. By the way, to relate this to locally, Dylan Raiola, who wasn't the guy that people thought he would be, and because of that, there's animosity towards him.
Sure.
He played hard. He tried to be the guy.
Yeah.
He didn't fit. It didn't work. But now people dislike him because it didn't work.
So this is a conversation that we could have at some point today or tomorrow.
Yep.
Well, that's a subside part of it, but you could replace Dylan with Adrian and get to, or even, Taylor Martinez, or to a lesser degree, Tommy Armstrong. I think fans are always going to have a hard time with a quarterback that plays more than 2 years at any program. unless they win national titles or
Right.
win at a really high level.
level. Yeah.
Because the idea of watching a guy play for 3 years and you don't come away with a conference championship or
Right.
a college football playoff appearance, like I think fatigue is so fast
Yeah.
in college athletics. And,
Unless it's a bad team that you're taking to a place they haven't been before.
sure.
Unless you're that guy.
But even then, that arc usually is like a 1 or 2 year thing. Like very few guys have gone from, in college sports that I can think of, have gone from like they took a team out of the depths of despair,
Yeah.
and then they're still there as the build is continuing on to the next level.
Right. I was
Usually there's always that transitionary jump of like this guy helped bring them up. The next guy is what brought him to the
and now it never will be, right? Because we're not going to have guys are going to be in and out and out. I was thinking of
I think that's where the portal era is actually better for fans,
Right.
because it prevents the fatigue that you got of Taylor.
Yeah.
Like by the end of 2013, people were sick of Taylor Martinez.
Yes.
I think people were tired of Tommy
But I
Armstrong.
think he missed all those games in 2013.
Well, it's the same thing. Tommy Armstrong's hurt most
Got
of
hurt,
the end of 2016.
Yep.
People were tired of Adrian Martinez for being hurt by the end of his career in 2021
and not winning.
Yeah. People were sick of Dylan Raiola by the end of it because like you, especially down with recruiting, and you spend so much time around these guys.
You know what the difference is, Schaefer, and this is something that I thought I've been thinking about a lot about, is the way it was designed in the past. You weren't seen until your third year.
Yeah.
In most programs, especially Nebraska, they might have known who you were, but nobody saw you. Amon Green was an anomaly, right? Usually you had to wait 2 or 3 years before you saw the guy, so you didn't have a chance to get the fatigue.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't play as a freshman and you're a high recruit, you're a failure.
Yeah.
Something's wrong with you.
Hey, Matt, please stick around. I want to get to this call. We just have to take a break so we can try to stay on the right side of the clock today. So we will be right back here on Happer and Schaefer, hopefully getting to Matt's call on the other side. Hey, welcome back here, Happer and Schaefer. As we finish off the first hour, I want to thank Matt for holding on the line here. Let's go to Matt, who has a thought on quarterbacks at Nebraska. Matt, welcome to Happer and Schaefer.
Hey, thanks, guys. Yeah, tying into the conversation you're having about quarterbacks, who would you say is the most accepted quarterback at Nebraska? I would say probably after Tommy Frazier. You could go a few different ways, but not necessarily, tying in success per se, but accepted.
Yeah, so the first couple names that come to mind for me.
Hey, thanks for the call, Matt.
Yeah, this is good. The first couple names that come to mind are Joe Gans and Zach Taylor. I think those guys are really still beloved by the fan base. I mean, Zach Taylor, a lot of it with the toughness and kind of picking Nebraska out of their first sort of losing season. He bounced back. He had some notable wins. Those were fun teams.
Incredibly fun.
In 2006. And then Joe Gans, you're having such a horrible time in 2007.
Yep.
And he comes in and, like, people remember that Kansas State game.
Oh, my God, yeah.
All
three of those games.
Favorably.
Even the end of the Texas game.
And then 2008, like, he was just a gamer. I mean, and so people really like Joe Gans. I mean, those would be the two guys, I think, for me. You said that you have one?
I have one-year starter. Everybody loves Jerry Godowski.
Okay.
Everybody.
So where are you going?
Love 1989, Jerry Godowski. You talk to anybody who has a conversation about quarterbacks. And by the way, even Tommy Frazier isn't universally loved because a lot of people love Brooke and wanted Brooke to play.
Yeah.
We've had these conversations for years. So everybody, obviously Eric, people called him a quitter and everything else. And the hate for Eric in like the 2005 through 2009 era is fascinating. I think
he's had kind of a revisionist where it's like people sort of
I hope so, because he's one of the nicest people in the world. And he's had
I told you my relationship
surgeries
with it. I talked about it. I don't even have him as a top quarterback. He won the Heisman.
Yeah, 19 surgeries that I know of since he finished playing.
Right.
Think about that. That guy put his body on the line for you, and people hate him. It's crazy to think about, but Joe for sure. Nobody disliked, because also he was cool and had a nice after career, like as a coach or when I had him on the radio for a couple of years. People just dug Joe Gans.
I think also both of those guys just seem like really approachable
in
a way that, like sometimes quarterbacks are set off on this pedestal, whereas both, Zach Taylor was wandering around the Paycom Center when Nebraska's playing for their first NCAA tournament win, just taking photos with fans and everything else. Because his son's just a huge Nebraska basketball fan.
Zach will text you.
Zach Taylor will text you?
Will text you at big moments when things happen.
Really?
Like literally, I know I had him on the show back at the paper. It was middle of the morning. He was driving from where he lived to the facility at the Rams facility, which is like an hour drive for him. And so he came on. I taped it with him, told him that my son was having this procedure, and texted me like a week later to see how everything went.
Ah, that's awesome.
Wow.
That's the kind of
that's
dude.
Really cool.
And I've heard that about, he still, I know what he used to text Kevin, just random stuff, you text him a congratulations, he texts you back.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's a great dude.
That's awesome. But again, and I think in all of those situations, Joe Gans, it was 2 years, 1.5 years as a starter. Zach Taylor was 2 years. And then Jerry Godowski, it's 1 year. Like, I think anybody that plays multiple years of college football as a quarterback, it's really hard to leave and not have people have sheer fatigue.
Best Gans story is that Gans has no recollection of the second half of the Gator Bowl. Got a concussion in the first half, remembers nothing about the second half. First thing he remembers is being on the plane with the MVP trophy next to him. First thing he remembers.
Should we try to get Joe Gans on for Friday?
I can call him.
Yeah. Because I want to ask him if there's a particular pass, like he thinks back of his career, if there's like one pass that you could take back, what it would be.
The Texas Tech.
It's got to be the Texas Tech. I think about that all the time. That was also my 21st birthday.
No way.
I think about that game all the time.
Did you have any thought going into that week that they had a chance?
No.
Right?
No.
I actually didn't go. I was in Houston visiting friends and didn't watch and played golf and missed the first half of the game.
Oh, wow.
And then I was like, wait a minute. Nebraska's leading?
Yeah, no. I couldn't believe they were in that game.
Yeah.
And then I was so mad that as something that would characterize my relationship with Bo Pelini throughout the entirety of his time at Nebraska, was so mad at how conservative he would be in some situations.
Oh, yeah.
Like not going for two when you have an
Yeah.
opportunity.
It was
And I
the
get
butt
you're on the
tightening.
road, but like,
Yeah.
man, just go try to take this game when you like. You
Yeah.
don't want to go to overtime with
Yeah.
this team. Like,
Yeah.
go win this game.
But he had defensive adjustments
no,
in
that's-
games that still
The man
today-
punted from the 28-yard line when they played at Michigan State.
I understand that he had his share of issues. I'm telling
I'm
you,
just saying that's how conservative he was always going to coach.
He made the adjustment against Oklahoma State in the second half. I'll never forget that. He basically pulled his starting secondary and said, "Hey, you backups, go in there. Here's what we're doing. We're going to stop this unstoppable offense."
Oh,
You know,
man.
I mean, the dude could call defense in the Big 12.
Yeah,
In the Big 12.
no doubt about
Big
it.
10, a little problem.
No doubt about it. All right, we will be back. More Happer and Schaefer on the way with Michael Severe filling in for Connor Happer. Welcome back in. 7 o'clock hour here on Happer and Schaefer. No Connor Happer today. He is in Ohio, where Creighton will be playing baseball at some point, at some time today, maybe multiple times today.
They're definitely playing at 11 a.m. That's for sure.
They're definitely Joey. Are you putting a guarantee on this?
I'm putting the guarantee.
Joey is putting a guarantee.
I should take a look at the radar first.
I would certainly. You never know what's going to happen. A storm could.
Oh, it's looking
brew
good.
up.
It's cleared up over there. It's cleared up.
Joey's guaranteeing 11 a.m. Connor Happer will be on Yacht Rock.
They'll get the games done today.
Okay.
Tomorrow's supposed to rain, so that'll be interesting. It's going to rain the rest of the weekend over
Of
in that
course
area.
it is.
It's gonna rain.
Of course it is.
Yeah, they're getting what we got
Yeah.
a few days before, so it'll be interesting.
Okay.
Pretty convenient timing for a baseball tournament.
I
to take
consider you,
place.
Joey, the our driving expert because of the roads and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm the interstate
So,
expert.
Do you know who Nolan Smith is? Former Georgia Bulldog, now Philadelphia Eagle.
Yeah, I'm familiar with
He
him.
was arrested for speeding.
Yeah.
How did you see how fast he was going?
He's got to
Did you
go
want to
over
take a
100.
guess?
160.
Oh, on 135.
135.
Could you imagine going 160 on a regular interstate, not the Autobahn? Could you imagine going 160?
I don't know that I can imagine going 135.
I've gone fast.
Yeah.
But I've never gone over 120.
What's the fastest you guys?
I think like 110 might be.
I
the
rode
fastest.
in a NASCAR car as part of a thing when I was in Albuquerque.
Oh wow.
And went about 185.
Oh boy.
I wasn't driving. I was riding along as a media person. But the fastest I've probably gone on an interstate was the Autobahn. We drove in on that. That was 120.
I think
Wow.
I think I remember somewhere like there's roads in Germany. There's freeways in Germany that
Autobahn.
will go
Yeah.
over about 200.
There's no speed limit.
Yeah.
No speed. And
It's crazy.
you know, probably the fastest I've driven in this country is when we were going to Yellowstone, and there's that part where you're going and it's like 85 in is it Wyoming?
Well,
Wherever
so
it is.
Montana
Wyoming.
used to be like no speed limit or
Yeah.
something.
One of them was 85, and I was like, who? And so I was going over 100.
I know for sure on I-70 once you get into Utah, they go to I think either 80 or 85 at the speed limit because
Okay.
there's absolutely nothing over there.
This
Just
would have been-
after you get outside of Colorado into Utah.
This would have been Idaho or Wyoming.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. I remember
that
the
makes sense.
85 pops up, and I go, ooh, 85.
You're just flying.
There's
Let's go.
there's absolutely nothing over there, especially in Wyoming when you
Yeah.
get off of Casper and you're going into Shoshone. I
Mhm.
think.
Yeah.
I mean that's not interstate, but it's absolutely
I
nothing.
mean, most people
are
are
just-
going 90, 95.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
easily.
much,
Yeah.
The
pretty much,
rate of
pretty
speed of
much.
what's happening in traffic. It's just that.
Yeah. And there was I don't think we saw a car.
Oh, that's
That's usually the case.
We went to Jackson Hole first. My wife ran a half marathon there, and then we went from there to Yellowstone, and she ran another half marathon there. It was a great week, and for me, not her. And both those trips, we were driving probably 100.
Yeah.
And by the way, I was in a minivan.
there we go.
I was in our minivan.
Booking it in
Nice.
the minivan.
In the
I know.
minivan. The
I
minivan
know you're
rolled,
a big
man.
supporter of the minivan.
I believe in the minivan if
Yeah.
you have more than one kid, more than almost anything in the world.
Yeah.
It's easy for the kids. It's easy for you. It's great for traveling. They almost all have entertainment centers. You can fit everything in it, no matter what
Yep.
it is. I don't care if it's your hockey equipment, baseball equipment, traveling to Yellowstone. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And then once you get to a certain age and the kids are now,
They
out
got
of the
their
My,
own
house.
my
cars.
brother-in-law, same thing. He swears by the minivan. He wanted the minivan. My sister could have whatever. He's like,
Yeah.
I'll take that.
My
Served its
neighbors,
purpose.
Easiest way to get the kids in and around and not
they
have
get in
to
by
actually-
themselves.
yeah.
They hit the button.
Yeah.
I had neighbors who made fun of, kind of went, oh, you got a minivan, ha ha ha. Within about 2 years, they had gotten the same minivan, the same color, charcoal gray Pacifica.
I remember the 2010s era, just where my family was getting all the minivans
Yeah.
because it was me and my two sisters. So we would go on these long road trips, and
That's where
That-
Joey
that-
learned the open road.
Oh, I
that-
bet.
that's-
Yeah.
I had the
Yeah.
road. I had the road map.
You had the
with-
atlas.
Yeah, I had the atlas
Yeah.
with me, and I was the navigator. I was relied on
That's cool.
getting from point A to point B.
Do you? So here's another
South
one.
Dakota is 85 right now.
So maybe
Oh,
it
wow.
was maybe
John
because
says
we
on
did
the
go
text line.
recently to Sioux Falls for a band competition.
Mhm.
Another one of those things, edge of where you are in terms of your age. Do you remember trip tickets?
No.
So when
No,
you were
I've-
going on a trip, you'd go to AAA, you'd tell them, and they would give you a trip ticket. And it was a booklet that folded out that had each part of the map. And in it, it had places to stop to eat, to stay, tips, alternate routes, famous things to see. It was this trip ticket they would give you.
My dad would go to AAA and get like they'd be like books of the city or whatever.
Oh, yeah, the Fromers.
Yeah,
the Fromers, yeah.
I just remember we did a lot of driving trips or whatever.
So did we.
And so you would go up to Minneapolis and he would have this like book of the city. And then I'd be like looking through it. I just remember we were in Milwaukee one time and I was stumping real hard for the family to go to. They have a clown museum.
No. I would go
Milwaukee.
to that. Yeah.
And nobody else wanted to go.
I love clowns.
Nobody wanted to go to the clown museum.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure it was Milwaukee. I got to look this up. But
We have, so on our block, 4 kids went to Marquette. 4 of the kids came out of high school, went to Marquette.
in your block
On
now?
my block now. 4 different
That's
kids.
wild.
Yeah, and I'm sure there'll be more because Marquette's kind of
The International Clown Hall of Fame and Research Center is in Milwaukee.
That sounds awesome. I love those things, man. That's
Okay,
what-
actually, it says it's Baraboo, Wisconsin. That's a 2-hour drive from.
well, that's not.
Formerly operated in downtown Milwaukee, but
Oh.
relocated to its current Circus City home in 2009.
I cannot recommend enough. If you're going to a place or you're going to a state, you just want to drive, get a Fromers for that state because they hire people to just drive around, try restaurants, try stops, try the clown museums. You buy one of those. I bought one for New Mexico once and one for Colorado, and we just drove for 2 weeks and stopped everywhere. Pagoda Springs. We stopped in Chalma. We stopped everywhere that they said to stop. It was incredible.
No, I
recommend Chalma to anybody who ever wants to go and just hike and have fun.
Okay. Well, that is that's good to know. That's good to know. All right. Michael, I assume you saw the news. Nebraska picked up a big commitment
I did.
yesterday.
Yes, very exciting.
Jordan Agbanoma out of Grayson High School. Nebraska's been recruiting for a while
I
under
love
a
that
few
school.
different staffs.
Yeah.
Mo Berry, I think, most prominently from there. But they, have recruited a number of players out of Grayson over the years. Jordan Agbanoma comes in as, depending on which service you use, either a top 100 or top 247, I guess, player in the country. 6'3", 315-pound offensive lineman. I saw him when he was on campus last year before one of the games. Just a big, hulking individual. A big win for Nebraska. I was talking with Tim Vergeese yesterday. Nebraska had been in this recruitment for a while. Texas A&M had kind of been the favorite for a long time. And then Nebraska kind of moved past Texas A&M and sort of claimed the crown as the favorite here. And then over the last month, Georgia had come in really hard.
I bet.
For Jordan
They love
Agbanoma.
Grayson, yeah.
And so Nebraska ends up winning a head-to-head recruiting battle for a kid out of Grayson, a suburban Atlanta school.
That's crazy.
Against Georgia. Like, that is a remarkable recruiting win. Now, this relationship with Jordan Agbanoma, really kind of forms in Grayson, really, with Jeep Wade, who was at Georgia Tech, for the last couple years. And so he built this relationship, carries it over to Nebraska. And you get this big commitment. And I just think it's a continuation of, it feels like since the moment he was hired, Jeep Wade has just enjoyed like a really strong runway into this first season. I don't know what it's going to look like, but whether it's been with the transfer portal, whether it's with recruiting, because it's not just Agbanoma, there's other guys that they're chasing. They could end up with multiple 4-star linemen out of the Southeast, like an area where they, usually there's people that were sort of responding, how big of a get is this? They've gotten big linemen before. Usually don't go into the Southeast and beat powers for guys that they actually want.
Especially that triangle area.
Right.
So you have Lawrenceville. You go from Lawrenceville over to Stone Mountain. You come down across there is Lithonia. All those areas, Georgia owns those areas, right? They have always done that.
They're not that far from Athens.
They're not far from Athens, and there's those guys grow up wanting to play at Georgia. Maybe a few want to leave and go to Alabama or something like that, but they're not thinking of going to Nebraska.
No.
We're doing this later. Obviously, I have an opinion, but use it now. Jeep Wade is Mike Eckler. Everything he's done and everything I think he will do this season, by the end of the year, you will go, that was the best assistant coach hire he's had. Because one, when he talks to the media, he's got that folksy old Gideon Pilla, and he's fun to listen to. And then before that, he's got proof of concept.
Yeah.
Why did people like Mike Eckler?
Proof of concept.
Because he had succeeded.
Yep.
Go back and watch Georgia Tech. Watch the fact that he took two or three different guys on the offensive line, developed them in, made one a second-round draft pick, made another one.
Did you like that guy?
I did. I actually had Kalen Rutledge in my first round, my
Okay.
mock. I went back and I watched.
Because it's interesting. I've seen like, the people who graph or do the grades and everything. Like the Texans, right? Took him.
Yeah, because he was like a 45th rated guy.
And
that's
it's
why.
like, oh, they didn't get enough value on this and everything else.
You go back and you watch, and I watch about 5 or 6 different games to try to learn what Jeep Wade does and try to see what they do with their offensive line. And I love how they pass off in terms of games, and something we could talk about another time. But watching the individual players, he stood out right away. Everything he did. And so you knew he, and then I think when he went to either the Senior Bowl or whatever All-Star game he went to, he showed out as an athlete. And they were like, oh, okay, this guy's even more than we thought we were. Everything he's done, proof of concept, coming in here, going on the radio shows, being folksy, then going out and succeeding recruiting in the portal first, brings in 3 guys, all with Power 4 experience that all have upside.
Yep.
And then now he does this. And right now, he has done nothing wrong.
Right.
And if the offensive line plays as well as I think they can play, he will be a guy where we're going to be talking about like Mike Eckler.
Yeah, well, the thing that stands out to me is I think everybody was sort of excited when he was hired because he's coming from a place in Georgia Tech where they kind of were known for what they had been doing with their line, with the sort of power running component that they have down there. And that's sort of a visualization thing that Nebraska fans really want. And they want that element inside an offense at all times. And so I think there was like enthusiasm about that. And then Nebraska ends up pairing him with Lonnie Teasley.
Yeah.
And I guess my thought process as this was all happening is like, okay, Jeep Wade is sort of the guy that's like the coach aspect here. Lonnie Teasley is the one that you're going to have go out on the road and do some of the recruiting for you.
Yeah.
And the way that things are set up now with football, like if you've got a guy who doesn't really want to recruit, he doesn't have to.
Right.
Because you can send a Jamar Mosey. You can send, an Anthony Johnson. You can send all of these
like
recruiting
Holgerson.
people. Yeah, exactly.
He don't want to leave the building.
Well, and I think about, he certainly isn't the only one that's been like, I think about past staffs, like there was just coaches that absolutely hated recruiting.
Sure.
Like they didn't want to be out. That wasn't, what interests them. And then you had guys who absolutely loved it. I never pegged that Jeep Wade would be this guy that would have this ability to capture whatever it is with offensive linemen. But you talk with Tim Verghese, you talk with anybody that sort of covers it, you talk with the recruits themselves or the transfer portal guys. His personality just meshes immediately with offensive linemen.
Oh, yeah.
And he has developed this like cachet in the Southeast of all of these different guys that he had brought into Georgia Tech or had success at Georgia Tech, have branched out from somewhere else or were at these camps or were well known or whatever. And I don't know if it's his teaching style. Like, I haven't spent time around him because obviously, things have changed for me. Like I don't do the beat reporting thing anymore. I'm not over there anymore. But just listening to people either talk about him or listening to him, as you said, like this went from a guy that I thought, oh, this is a really interesting hire from the X's and O's to like, this is sort of, if it works, this is everything you'd want from an offensive line coach.
This is what you wanted when you hired a coach like Rule and knew that he couldn't bring anybody with him.
Right.
Right now, Jeep Wade is bringing people with him, not necessarily from Georgia Tech, but from his recruiting profile.
Right.
Guys that he's talked to since they were freshmen in high school or sophomores in high school or saw him at camps or had him at camps at Georgia Tech. And so he's got this built-in resume or built-in Rolodex of guys that you don't even know he's in on them.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you see Tim talks about the guy and you're like, well, where'd he come from? Oh, he knew Jeep Wade. Jeep Wade has recruited him. It's nice to be, you're not bringing the head coach in, but you're bringing an offensive line coach and a defensive coordinator too, who's got that same thing. He knows a bunch of guys along with his from San Diego State.
Well, and then with Rob Arad, she's also brought Roy Manning and guys like that. So it's like, he's just sort of deploying that. I have been so impressed. And again, they haven't played a game yet. So I don't know how it's all going to work as that comes together. But it makes me feel pretty good that he can go out and procure the talent that he wants.
Sure.
Because that's sort of the first step. Like, you might be a great coach, but you might be a great coach with certain types of players, but then not have the ability to go get those players.
Oh, yeah, sure.
You know what I mean?
Makes
So,
sense.
like, Bo Pelini's defense works with a certain type of player. He didn't always do a good job of recruiting or finding the type of player that would work for what he
find
wanted
another
to do.
Yeah.
Well, I always found that to be somewhat.
I always thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah. Well, and then literally growing up in the recruiting industry where it's people want to slap labels on it. Was Robert Nkemdiche or whatever?
Oh yeah.
This is an XU, and it's like,
Yeah, stop
no,
it.
There's not. Just
Stop
don't.
it.
There's certain players where it's like, just do not.
He's a 1-on-1.
Yeah. The things that man could do, and we watched him do on a football field,
Yeah.
it was rare and unto the sport itself.
Dude, Levante David came here. Nobody wanted Levante David, by the way. Came here and fit better in Bo's system than Bo knew he would fit in the system.
Bo didn't want to play him.
I know. Took
Famously
2 injuries.
didn't want to play him.
Took 2 injuries, and then once he did play, as the greatest quote of all time, when he's coming off of 14 tackles, he could have made some better plays out there. I'm like, well, he made every play out there.
Well, and you know this, and I know this because it's around, and you talk to enough guys that played on those teams. Bo would get mad at Levante because he wouldn't do what Bo wanted him to do.
But he made the play.
Because Levante's instincts would be like, well, they're going to do this.
Right.
So I need to be here. The
Yeah.
defense calls for me to be over there.
Mhm.
But if I'm over there, they're going to be here, and that's not good.
Yep. Same guy. Another guy
That
did
Penn
that too.
State play, he snuffs out the play against
The fourth down play?
Yes.
Yeah. So
one of the greatest individual
Yeah.
effort plays
Yeah.
defensively.
he made all 3 of those tackles
Oh, my God.
in a row.
when it was thought that this was probably a year ago, when it was thought that he was going to retire and all of that. And I was kind of going down the rabbit hole of
Mhm.
Levante David and his time at Nebraska. And I went back and I watched those.
Yeah.
There was so many plays his final year at Nebraska. And there was stuff like he got shedded on a block against Iowa and they had this tight end screen pass.
Mhm.
He chased the guy down like 15 yards
Yeah.
from behind the play.
He chased down Denard Robinson from behind.
Yeah.
And he didn't just dive and clip his ankles. He
Right.
tackled him. There were 2 different players for Bo. You had the guy who did everything he was supposed to do, Will Compton. And then you had guys like David and Damian Stafford, who did whatever he wanted back there and just took the yelling. They're like, yell at me if you want. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
but the
go make
problem with
plays.
Damian is that he didn't have Levante's instincts.
He didn't have the athleticism
Right.
overall.
He
Yeah.
took some of the
Yeah.
worst angles you would ever
But he
see.
would make plays.
Oh,
at
no,
times,
he was-
and he would. If you ever watched
Yeah.
Damian Stafford back there, he would make adjustments. He knew the defense.
Sure.
But he just didn't do everything that Bo said to do.
Yeah, no, we certainly talked to the same people, and it's like, yeah, that 2012 conference championship game,
Mhm.
Damian just decided Damian was going to do what Damian needed to do.
Yeah.
Which was not in the run fit of the defense.
Yeah, there was no. I don't know if it mattered. You could have
But
had
no.
any people.
They were
playing
getting
in that,
blown out of the
They were
box
going to get
on
blown
that.
out
It
no
didn't-
matter
it
what.
didn't
Yeah,
matter.
they were exhausted. I remember saying it in the pregame show. We were over at Tilted Kilt, and I said, I think 6 games have worn them out. You know, he's like, well, they think they have. I said, 6 games of having to win every single game. 3 of those were comeback wins.
Well,
that
you were
took
losing
everything.
pieces along the way.
Yes, and you had guys that were getting injured and you were exhausted. And the one thing you still had was Taylor Martinez, who could make a play from any time. But other than that, they were better than you at every other position.
Yeah.
You were better than them at quarterback, but they were better than you at every other position.
Yep. No, you were at that game because I
Yeah.
remember we that was actually the most time I had spent with you at that point early in my career, because I think you and Bishop were there.
We were all
doing
there.
shows and
Yep.
we all met up somewhere. But do you remember Rick Kaczynski after that game?
I don't know what he said.
He was so crushed for his group because he knew what you were talking about.
Mhm.
He's like, I just don't know that people know, like, we put everything we had just to get here. We
Yeah.
just didn't have enough to survive. He was like, we were playing down.
Yeah.
We were playing down in a way. He's like trying to explain it, but he was just like so distraught about the way
I
that
bet.
had went.
There's
I mean, he was a
nothing.
very emotional guy.
There's nothing like that, because you remember the Wisconsin game in 2011. We talked to Carl in the parking lot next to the bus. Same thing. He was like, I don't know what we could do. You know, it was Russell Wilson. I don't know what we could do. We did this. We tried. He was just had no answers. And Carl always had something to say.
Oh, God.
And we were talking. He had nothing to say.
I understand how the perception of Carl is, but that guy was as good to me as any coach.
Really?
He was, well, I would wear Cleveland stuff, and he would always want to talk about Cleveland. It's
Yeah.
like student reporter
Yeah.
on had a relationship with him that
Yeah.
was just unique.
That's
because
my
of
rule.
the
That's my
Cleveland
rule
baseball thing.
Because I grew up a Penn State fan.
Ah,
That's a rule thing.
you can always
You always
can
remember
bring
that I'm
that
a Penn
back
State
to
fan.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That, and we both were Mets fans growing up.
Okay.
Yeah.
But now you have to admit to him you don't like baseball, or does he not like
I haven't talked to him about it since. I haven't told him that. I told somebody recently that I don't watch baseball anymore, and it crushed them.
Yeah.
It was a guy that I've known for almost my whole life, I played in rotisserie leagues with him and everything, and I told him I don't watch baseball anymore, and he was just like, what?
Do you tell him that you actually mute the word baseball on Twitter?
MLB, baseball. I got so many things muted on my Twitter. It's incredible. What's most recent
That's
thing?
incredibly remarkable.
What's the most recent thing
So,
I have?
Bringing this thing back bringing it back to Jeep Wade and Jordan Agbanoma. Did you get a chance to watch any?
I
film or
did.
anything
I did
on
right
Agbanoma?
away. Yeah.
What stands out to you?
Looks raw to me.
Yeah.
Obviously the size is just something that stands out. One of the hardest things to do, and I tell this people all the time, whether it's interior or tackles, you have no idea who they're playing against.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care what you think you see. You just can't tell, right? And so he looks like he's got some skills. He looks athletic to me. I understand why Georgia and other teams have looked at him. He just looks raw at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He's got size. You can't. He's going to play one of the two guard spots.
Yeah,
right. And that's what he looks like. He's definitely
a guard. He's not a tackle. He's definitely a guard. It's interesting. Tim had said something to the effect that maybe there's a chance a guy like that could play right away in his career. I see what you see.
Yeah,
too.
I think he's pretty
I'm
raw.
also someone who very much never wants to put a true freshman offensive lineman out there.
Well, it's such a rare thing.
Well, it's what you have to mentally be able to do, what you physically have to be able to do, the jump that you're making from high school to college, especially now in an age
one of the hardest positions in
some
football.
guys are 24 to 25 years old lining up across to you. That's just I think it's really, really difficult. But you pair that up, and if you can build out the Claude and Pumas and you can build out some of these younger guys.
My latest mute
is
I hate that dude.
Okay.
I hate him with a passion of the sun. If you don't have any more, but in our call list for guest, it had Michael hates this guy. That's what it said. He writes stuff that makes me want to fight him. He puts things in columns.
You heard me talking about this the other day, right?
Oh my God, dude. What are you talking about?
I
He's the guy that they make fun of, the one in the little Weasley guy who's trying to write. That's that dude. He's that guy. He's the one that represents all of us who have been in the media over the years, who they go, you could have never played some. He's that dude.
That's amazing.
I hate that little dude. And I don't like the way he spells his name.
I mean, I don't know that it was his choice. His parents.
I don't know. You never know. I picked mine, so you never know.
Well, that's true. That is true. All right, we're going to step away here. We'll come back on Happer and Schaefer with Max Olsen from ESPN. We'll check in with him as to what's been going on in college football this week. Welcome back to Happer and Schaefer. No Connor Happer today. He is on the call with Creighton playing out in the Big East Baseball Tournament. Michael Severe sitting in for him. And on the line, we have Max Olsen, one of our regular Thursday guests, one of the few regular guests that we've had all week long.
He's also a voter for the Jet Award.
He is a voter for the Jet Award.
For the Jet Award.
I didn't know if you guys had crossover. I had no idea.
Yeah, sure. I've known Max for, I think, a pretty long time, but he's been on.
I don't know everybody in the media, so I should have assumed that you would have known Max.
Yeah, we asked Max because he crosses over to so many different schools. He's perfect for the award.
It really is. Do you feel like you're perfect for the Jet Award, Max?
You know what? Yes, I do. Keep me on that group.
Are you a special teams guy? Or have you always been, hey, we need to talk about this other third. We always leave this third out. Are you one of those guys?
A lot of hidden points and yards there. Absolutely.
Heck yeah.
I'll tell you one thing that's been cool about this job at ESPN is like we have access to a lot of like, you know, the ESPN stats database and like a lot of those kind of resources, which helps a ton in this job and helps a ton in voting for stuff like that and trying to sort who to pick. You guys do a great job with that, Michael.
Thanks.
So Max, I'm just kind of curious, like we're just sort of getting towards summer. Have you started thinking about like what games that you are going to attempt to attend next year, or have you like thought about the schedule at all for anything like that, or is it still too early yet?
It's a little early, although I did learn this week that I'm going to my first ever Big Ten Media Days in Chicago.
Oh,
all right.
Look at that. Is it back at McCormick?
No,
it's the Hilton.
A nice experience.
That'll
out in the big city.
You'll be underwhelmed, I'm sure.
Nah, who's the coach you're most interested in talking with?
I haven't seen my guy Matt Campbell since he left for Penn State.
Good call.
Moved halfway across the country. So eager to hear what I've talked to folks on that staff. I think they feel pretty good about what they put together there, but certainly interested to get a better sense of. I mean, that's just such a funky roster, right? With kind of a mismatch of Iowa State and Penn State players and some new guys, and I think they're going to be pretty good. But obviously, we got a lot of staffs this year that are working with some unique year one rosters.
I grew up a Penn State fan, so I follow them pretty closely. What's the pressure rate for him going there? I mean, James Franklin, obviously, by the end, most Penn State fans were frustrated with in-game stuff and quarterback development and all of that. But what do you think the early pressure is on Matt Campbell? Does he need to have success right away to prove that it was the right hire?
It's a really good question because, I think, and this kind of ties with the thing everyone's been talking about this week, like, doesn't it kind of depend on the playoff a little bit? Like, I think, when we expanded to a 12 team, you would have said, man, Penn State's one of those programs that's going to benefit a ton that they would have been in the playoff a lot in a 12-team format under James Franklin. And if you go to 24, like Penn State should be in the playoff a lot, right? Over a 10-year period, they probably should be in it very frequently. Yep. So I think that'll be interesting to see if we get to that. Not that I'm rooting for that 2014 playoff, but I think that bar is I think that's one of those that you're going to measure Penn State by a little bit here going forward. And certainly they've come close in their time at Iowa State. If they beat Arizona State in the Big 12 title game a couple years ago, they're in that playoff and playing against Texas. So I think I certainly think that they know that's going to be the expectation, and that's going to be a change for Matt Campbell too, because I think that over his 10 years at Iowa State, as the winningest coach in school history, a lot of it's like, man, nobody ever thought we'd get here. But in the years like 21, where there were, legitimate like Big 12 title playoff expectations, they didn't totally get there too. So I think they're signing up for a different level of scrutiny, and when you have loaded teams, you gotta put it all together.
Max, you got an article up, I think it went up yesterday on ESPN about the college football transfer portal and sort of questioning if it's killed something that has always been a big part of college football, which is discussing quarterback battles amongst your program, amongst the guys that are competing for those spots. You talked with a variety of different coaches in here. I guess to start with, where did this sort of idea come from for you to kind of tackle this angle of it? And what do you feel like you learned as you suss this out?
Well, I think as we see the money just evolve every offseason in this sport right now. And I was talked to a few GMs yesterday who say that the money that high school recruits are demanding now is just completely like laughable, but it makes sense because the money just keeps going up. And so as that's the case, and we, the standard of each position just, keeps rising with really no decline in sight. Like, I think these schools are now kind of put in this position where it's like, okay, if you want to go get, Anthony Calandria or Kenny Minchie, like, you are going to be paying that guy an amount of money that pretty much guarantees they're going to be the starter, right? And I think that's going to be the case that a lot of schools, there are some good quarterback battles out there this offseason. There's certainly the big ones at Alabama with Keelan Russell and Austin Mack. But for the most part, the high-profile quarterback battles that are still lingering, like post-spring, are really, just between two guys that have inexperience at most of these schools. And nowadays, you don't have to live with inexperience and go through spring ball in an off season and just really not know what you got. Like, you can go cut a check for $2-3 million and find a guy who's started a lot of games. And so I think that's, as we see some of these programs like Indiana just take a transfer every year, or Oregon take a transfer every year, I think that's kind of part of it now. Is like, you don't have to have that year where you're young and hey, hopefully we'll get through it. And then this guy will be a 3-year starter. Like, I think the calculus on that has changed quite a bit along with the money.
Let me first say, Max, this is a joke, but was it an email or was it a group call with ESPN folks to all disagree with 2014 playoff? Or was that was just individually, or how'd you guys determine all come together to say this is bad?
We have not. Yeah, that's a great question. We usually have our meetings on Thursday at like 11.
Okay.
But we haven't had one of those lately. And they have not, we haven't had one where they just said, all right, guys, get in line. Here's the marching orders. Maybe we will. Maybe that's coming up.
Yeah.
But
it's got to be weird for
so
you,
far,
though, right? Because everybody says, oh, the only reason why you're against it is because it hurts ESPN in terms of Fox getting more inventory. You have an opinion on it. I'm sure it's your based opinion,
sure,
but it's got to be a little frustrating that they're just all saying most people are saying it's only because of the ESPN tie.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, certainly, like, if in my job, they don't invite me to the meetings with the TV executives who express their opinions on the future of the sport. So that we're siloed off a little bit from all of that. And yeah, there's probably some truth to that probably, you look at going to 24 and obviously the overarching reason for it would be, as is the case for a lot of things that's gone on in the sport lately, is the TV inventory and the ability to make a lot more money. But I would assume that in a 24-team setup that you're opening that up again and Fox is getting more involved and stuff like that. But, to me, just my personal opinion, like, I don't love the 3-week break that we've set up in this current 12-team format. And obviously a lot of teams have lost after that. Like, I wish we could have a playoff where it's like the FCS and you're just playing it every Saturday and there's not these kind of big breaks and all this schedule that's set up, around New Year's and stuff like that. But otherwise, I don't have a lot I can point to with the 12-team and say this isn't working.
Yeah, I totally concur with that. I mean, my biggest complaint with the 12-team is I wish that the teams that have the bye had the opportunity to have a home game in their first game as well. Like, that would be literally the only thing I would really want to change with this. I want to go back to the quarterback competition thing.
Let me
go ahead.
ask you guys this real quick, though.
Yep.
Do you think, just across the board, do you think Nebraska fans should be in favor of a 24? Because that's,
oh, hell yeah,
basically
best
going
chance.
to lower the bar and say it's going to give us a chance to be a lot more relevant here.
80% of the teams in college football.
Yeah, well,
Right.
That was the whole argument to go from 4 to, whether it was 8 or 12 or 16 initially, is that you're inviting more teams in, which creates a better opportunity. I mean, I don't think
and
you
then
end
more
up.
games matter in November and all of that. Yeah, of course.
Maybe you still end up with Indiana because of how they played last year with the 4-team playoff setup, but I don't know if that happens because they wouldn't have been invited the year prior, and I don't know if they still have the big jumping off point if they don't have the year before too. So who knows how that would all work. I do want to dive back into this because one of the quarterback competitions you list is going to be near and dear to the heart of Nebraska fans. What have you heard about the Hank Brown versus Jeremy Hecklitzky competition that's happening over in Iowa, where they got to replace a guy in Mark Gronowski? There's a huge
Played great down the stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting one in terms of just like the style comparison there, because I think who they go with there is going to dictate the offense a bit. It sounds like Tim Lester is pretty happy with both guys in spring ball. They don't really have a plan on here's when we're going to announce the starter, but they're two very different dudes. Hank Brown's a guy who 6'4", like efficient passer. He transferred in from Auburn. He started 2 games when he was at Auburn, and has played a little bit. And then Jeremy Hecklinski started his career at Wake Forest. He's only played 12 career snaps over 2 years. He's listed at 5'11", but a little bit more of like a playmaker, risk taker, gunslinger. And so I think that's, I think the big question there is kind of who can, create explosive plays and be efficient and take care of the football and stuff. And so I think Hank Brown's probably more of your classic Iowa quarterback, and Hecklinski would be, I think, pretty fun to watch if he's the guy. So I'm curious to see, that's another one you probably kind of question, like, okay, why wouldn't you go take a transfer and take a guy who had as much experience as Gronowski did? But, I think they've seen enough to think that they can get pretty solid QB play from either one. And certainly they trust that, no matter what, they're going to be able to run the ball.
Max, they always say you can't go back home again. When you saw the Ed Orgeron news, did you look for the extra M in Pete Thamel, thinking maybe it was a joke account?
No, I did believe it right away, because I could certainly see Ed Orgeron being completely open to that idea. To me, the Brent Pry staying at Virginia Tech as the DC, that one was a little more odd in terms of just, being the guy who stays in the building and then the new guy comes in and says, we got to fix everything. I think Coach O, they fired him a few years ago, but Scott Woodward's gone and got a new AD there, and the regime there says, sure, why not? Whatever you want, Lane. So
yeah, and it wasn't hired for
Coach O.
Yeah, on field, right? I mean, there were other things happening why he was fired. It wasn't about necessarily the coaching aspect of it.
No. That's fair. And if this role is, we're going to put Coach O on the road, and he's going to be kind of an ambassador for this program, more so than he's going to be like our defensive line coach or whatever. Like, I think that's going to be pretty fun to watch.
No doubt.
I think that's certainly, as we've seen between Lane Kiffin and the way that the Will Wade trying to break college basketball, those two are certainly allowed to do anything they want right now.
Yeah, LSU is the center of the universe for a lot of reasons right now in the offseason.
They're just printing money.
Yeah. Max, thank you so much for jumping on today and rearranging your schedule to make it happen. We appreciate it. We'll catch you next week. Have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks, guys.
We didn't get to it, but I was going to ask, do you think Sorsby's got, I mean, obviously the judge is a Texas Tech grad, also got his graduate
himself.
He recused himself? Okay.
Yeah, so now the way it's set
Who's
up,
the next judge?
They are looking to get a judge that has degrees from a different
Big 12 school?
Yeah, different Big 12, which is, Baylor, A&M.
Well, everybody's got a degree from Baylor in Texas.
So
yeah.
I don't know exactly or
in terms
what's
of lawyers,
going to happen there.
Right.
At one point, I thought that this seemed like, okay, he might end up with the injunction that will ultimately allow him to play.
Right.
Now, because this judge has recused himself, it almost feels like it's going to go the
He's
other
going to
way.
be in the supplemental draft, I think.
Yeah.
I think it'll
so
be in the
too.
supplemental. I think there's no way you can overcome the amount of bets he made.
What should someone do in the supplemental draft as it's related to Brendan Sorsby? Is it like a third-round pick? Because you're giving
you're giving up your pick for next year.
Yeah.
Right. And so you have to figure it out. And it's based off of win-loss record. That's how they reverse it. I would say that if it's me, it depends who I am. Like, do the Jets feel that they are ready to have a season so bad again that they're there for that really good draft of quarterbacks next year? Or they say, hey, look, let's just do it now and go with this guy because we have so much talent. Yeah. I don't know. There's a few teams, I think.
I think about it from a Vikings perspective, naturally.
Sure, right.
Naturally. And it's like, I am so done with your guy, JJ McCarthy.
I know. I'd give JJ a second chance.
I would be like more than willing to give up a third-round pick to have Brendan Sorsby and see if he's someone you can develop. You trade McCarthy, maybe you get a third-round pick back for that.
He's a second-round pick if he goes into the April. If he was in the April draft.
Sorsby
would have been, I think he would have easily been.
A lot of mocks before all of this came out were
like
back of the first half.
I think he'd have been a third, maybe the third quarterback. He'd have gone. In terms of the rankings, Nussmeier for most people was like the third one. He didn't obviously go third, but I think he goes right into that spot.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's an interesting, if you're looking to grab a quarterback and you actually want to have success, you could use a second or a third round pick to try to develop.
Back to my wheelhouse of the early 80s, mid 80s when supplemental draft quarterbacks
I was
Steve
trying to
Walsh.
explain to Happer what
Yeah.
it was because it's so rare. And then it was like I was trying to tell him who examples were, and I couldn't come up with
Well,
Josh Gordon.
The greatest one is after the USFL folded.
Right.
You got that thing that happened, which was absolutely crazy. But probably Steve Walsh was one of the most famous.
Okay.
Because the Cowboys, I believe, that was a first round pick.
Wow.
I think that was a first round pick. I know the Saints had a couple of guys in that they got in the supplemental draft.
I feel like it used to end up being like running backs who would get hurt and then wouldn't be able to have their season or whatever.
Guys who got suspended in trouble. Georgia had a few of those guys in a row. I mean, it was a specifically a safety who was to be a really good player, got in trouble, got kicked off the team, and he had to go in a supplemental draft. Ended up playing in the league for a while.
Yeah. Well, we will see how that plays out. All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back on Happer and Schaefer, we will get to the headlines. Also, real quickly, get your opinions in. 8 a.m. I Have an Opinion returns here this week on Happer and Schaefer.
We added a guest for tomorrow. Yeah, we're not guestless.
Woo!
Look at that. All right. Well,
Perfect.
Should you want to announce it?
Sure, you go ahead. You're the A team.
All right, well, I don't know about that, but Joe Gantz will be joining us after that call that we had earlier. We were talking about the quarterbacks that are well liked around here
Now,
still.
you got to let him know what you and Happer put on your tier
I
list.
sent it to him. I forwarded it to him.
You
Yeah,
did?
yeah, I forwarded it to him.
Okay.
He might have
at Coach Gantz.
I could be
can't wait to hear
accosted.
that.
Who knows?
No, you won't be.
I don't think I
He
would.
is not going to get mad about any of that stuff because it took a while for him to kind of adjust. But once he got to play, that's all. That was his dream.
Yeah.
You know, he was obviously mad that they brought in
Keller.
Heller or Keller. They brought in Sam Keller. He was mad about that. But once he started playing, after that, I think he was cool with it.
Then he was good to go.
Yeah, because he had success. He broke 18 records, or he
in a
set
short amount of time.
18 records.
In a short,
Yes, in a
amount of time.
very short amount of time.
All right, Joey, what do we got today for today's headline?
Okay, headline number 1: Mysterious roof poops lead California man to mountain lion encounter.
Hold on a second. Roof? Is that what you said?
Mysterious roof poop leads California
Roof
man.
is what he's
Roof
saying.
or
Roof is
The thing
how
on
you-
top of a house.
The thing on top
Yeah,
of
The
yeah.
roof.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, leads to California man to mountain lion encounter.
I thought you were barking. Okay. What's the other one?
The other one is
You're just tormenting.
you talked about people speeding through. There's a Florida man topping 130 miles per hour in Lee County Chase, then asked cops if he should upgrade his car.
Do you want the roof poops or do you want the car?
I just want to hear him say roof more. Yeah. So what? I'll go with the roof thing.
You want Joey to read
The
it?
roof?
No.
No, I'm not allowed to read things
You are allowed to read things, Joey.
except for headlines.
All right. A California man who noticed mysterious feces on the roof of his guest house ended up in a close encounter with the source, a mountain lion.
Ooh.
Bill Dabney said he spotted the unusual droppings on his roof of his guest house in Pasadena. That would be nice. And it was immediately clear they were not from a bird. I looked up and I saw poop on the roof. He told KABC TV. It was like 4 separate stools. He said he said the presumed source of the mystery dropping soon made itself known. All of a sudden, I look over and there's a mountain lion staring at me. The cougar's May 3rd visit was recorded by his home security camera. He was in position mode like he was going to spring, Dabney said. The homeowner fled indoors and the mountain lion did not pursue. Kevin McManus with the Pasadena Humane Society said it's not clear whether the mountain lion is the same feline spotted a few blocks away a few days after Dabney's encounter. Mountain lions have been known to visit residential areas in Los Angeles County before. A mountain lion was caught on camera entering a home through an open door in Laverne in August 2025, and another was chased off by a family dog in the same city in February 2024.
Do you remember that viral video of that reporter? She's doing her story out in the dark, and this thing walks by her. She thinks it's a dog, but we can very clearly see because of the iris of the camera that it's actually a mountain lion.
You can never have any of this anymore, though, because AI has ruined all of it.
That is true.
Yeah,
Yes,
it-
you don't know if it's
it
real,
has.
right?
Like,
right.
so, what
Yeah.
you're describing was
Yes,
real.
That was a real thing,
and that
happened.
actually happened.
Yeah.
And there's been other sort of similar encounters like that, but now it's all ruined.
Yeah, I saw a video yesterday of a woman on a roller coaster get thrown from the roller coaster, and it looks real.
Yeah, no, that's the
And
problem.
I'm like, is this? I had to go do research. I really wanted to know. I love roller coasters, and it was AI.
So then
it
the
looks
problem
so
is
real.
you go to search it and you're searching the internet, which is then pulling off of AI functions.
Yeah.
We're going to be in such a circular
We are.
confirmation.
We are.
It
yes.
is so.
It's
so
what Matthew McConaughey said in True Detective.
time
It's
is
a flat circle. Yeah. It's a flat circle.
See, I would be like, it's what Silicon Valley was predicting, but you would never.
I
see
would.
it.
I didn't get. If it's in
You
the first
couldn't get-
season, okay. I couldn't get past the first season. I tried my best.
You
I
tried.
worked hard.
You gave it.
I
you gave it
fought.
your all.
I fought the law, and the law won.
The law won.
Yes.
One of the few times in HBO history for you that the law
Exactly.
won.
The other one is Rome.
Rome.
Couldn't do Rome. Tried Rome. Couldn't do Rome.
Did you ever try Vinyl when that was a thing for like?
I
2
watched a
episodes?
little bit of it.
I
Yeah.
watched the first episode.
Yeah. Is that the one that has the porn sidebar?
No,
What's the one with the porn sidebar?
that's the Deuce.
Okay, I watched that.
That's the
I did
dude.
not see Vinyl.
No, Vinyl lasted for 2 episodes. They pulled the plug.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
they-
missed that one. I didn't even
They
see that
gave
one
up
happen.
on it.
I
They
watched
gave
the
up on
Deuce
it.
though. That was interesting.
All right, we will be back. I have an opinion. Get your opinions in. Text them in. Call them in. Send them on the StreamYard. However you want to do it. I have an opinion. Next on Happer and Schaefer. It is Thursday at 8 a.m. and on Happer and Schaefer, that means it is time for I Have an Opinion. So get those opinions in, whether you want to do it over the stream, whether you want to do it, through the text line, 402-951-1620. You want to call in your opinion? Feel free to do that. Joey, if you want to monitor the...
Or even tweet at us at Hap and Shave.
That's exactly where I was going to go. You can monitor us with the Zone Twitter feed, which, of course, powered by Liquid Trucking. So Joey will keep an eye on that. You can read those opinions. I am giving you permission to read them.
Okay, so I got one from Kyle on Twitter on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. He says, I have an opinion. Shopping carts should have turn signals. I feel as if it would eliminate the bashing together of carts in a crowded store.
How about just paying attention to where you're going? Put your damn phone down, memorize what the hell you're going to shop for, and keep your cart next to you. Don't leave it in the middle of the damn aisle. Just do a responsible thing as a grocery shopper. I have so many irrational anger things about grocery shopping.
Yeah,
I like to grocery shop.
It's very reasonable, but people are not paying attention when they're shopping. They're looking down at their phones.
You know what happens? They go into Costco and they lose their mind. Oh my God, there's a sample tray. I've got to cut across 18 lanes of traffic to get to the sample tray.
I have never understood, and I was probably late to Costco. I didn't have it until a few years ago, and it was fine. I liked it.
Yeah.
I never understood the sample thing.
I don't either.
Grocery stores have had samples. Costco had samples it's whatever.
Yeah.
I never understood why people get so fired up about a frozen pizza.
I've never taken one.
Especially if it's from California Pizza Kitchen. I don't get why people would be fired up for that.
You need help.
No, I don't.
You do need help.
No, I don't.
Have you been to California Pizza Kitchen? The restaurant.
I've not been to the restaurant.
Then you don't know what you're talking about.
It's
good. It's good pizza.
I've had their frozen pizzas.
The frozen pizza's not good anywhere.
I have a good idea what their
What's your favorite frozen pizza? That's like saying, what's your favorite dog poop?
It was Tony's Pizza when I was a kid.
That's horrible. That's right. Yeah, it wasn't a normal kind of dropping. Listen, man, go to one. They actually have good pizza.
Good thing they don't have any over in Omaha.
I wish we were very sad.
I will boycott it.
When they closed it, I was very sad. They had a really good one with chimichurri sauce on it. Oh, God, it was so good.
Oh, it should be mentioned. You can also email into Mike at 1620 The Zone.
Yes. As
Doug points out, we want to make sure that you get your opinions on the Equitable Bank inbox.
Here's one from the stream.
Okay.
And it is about one of our favorite quarterbacks. I have an opinion. Jamal Lord is the most underrated quarterback in Cornhusker history. Not in 02. In 03, I agree. In 02, he was
he should have lost
worst
his job.
Decision maker that's ever played quarterback in my time watching Nebraska.
The anger from how old would I have been? About 15, probably 14, 15. I don't know if I had turned 15 yet. When Nebraska lost to
Texas, the throw
on that interception. Yeah. And I remember
that's not his fault, though. That's Frank's fault.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yes.
For putting him in the situation to even make that throw.
Right.
I remember DeJuan Gross returning that. DeJuan Gross is my all-time favorite player. All-time favorite Nebraska Cornhusker.
We gave him the Legends Award 2 years ago.
The man would have won the Jet Award at some point in his career.
Yes, he would have. That's why he won the Legends, yeah.
So I love DeJuan Gross. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, that's the guy that if you ask me who my favorite Husker growing up, it's always that.
Mm-hmm.
He's returning that kick against Texas. And I'm thinking to myself, if he doesn't score this, they have no chance here.
Right.
And then, so he doesn't. And Lord throws that interception.
Yeah.
And I always thought it was Vasher that intercepted it, and it wasn't. It was somebody else.
Right.
But my brain would always create the memory that it was Vasher, and then I went and looked this back up a few years ago. It wasn't.
Right.
What I do remember, though, my basement of my house at that point hadn't been fully finished. And so it was one of those where you can see the cement walls.
The sheetrock.
And I'm just downstairs watching, we had a TV. This is kind of where that was my hangout space where the video game and all of that was. I just took the can of Mountain Dew that I had and I just chucked it against the wall, and it had just been opened.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Because my anger at that point, I realize when I get mad about sports, the way that I release that anger is through yelling and through wanting to throw things.
Yeah.
And this just happened to be a mostly full can of Mountain Dew chucked against a cement wall
that you had to clean up.
Yeah, then who has to deal with this?
You do.
Me.
Yes.
It's easy for me.
Thankfully, nobody else was in the household, I think, at that time. So it wasn't like, hey, what happened down there?
It's easy for me to throw things when I'm mad during a Packers game because I have my cheese head right sitting next to me and I could just toss it in the other side of the room.
Yeah, I would throw water bottles. Just
don't throw open bottles of water bottles like Matt would probably.
No,
do.
I would not throw an open. Well, I threw
or
an
open can of
Monster.
Monster.
I shouldn't actually say it like that, but no, I think it's gotten better. I did throw something during a Nebraska basketball game when they lost to Iowa this year. Shelby looked at me and she's like, "You're in your 30s."
I was going to say it to you when I was in my 30s. Teens and my 20s. I would have that kind of incredible anger about Saints things. And then I got to the point where I dealt with things like a bad call or a miracle or whatever much better. But when I was young, yes.
Yeah.
I was insane. Here's one from Nathan. I have an opinion. Baseball needs to figure out an extra inning rule so games don't take so long. Didn't they? USC versus Oregon, 14 innings was exhausting. The 10th, they should have done a home run derby style shootout. So you're saying college baseball should find out.
They don't have the
ghost runner.
So it's kind of like penalties in soccer or in hockey.
Yeah, shootouts. Do a shootout.
Yeah,
some sort of shootout.
Yeah.
Home run derby.
Yeah, I
one pitch.
Sign me up for that.
Give you one pitch. If you hit the home run, the game's over.
I don't have a problem with baseball games. One, I like baseball, so I don't have a problem with baseball games in extra innings take a while because you don't have
hurt your pitching staff going forward if it's a tournament setting. Yeah.
Well, no, that's the problem, especially in a tournament situation.
Tournament settings, it's not good.
But I mean, there's been some really famous World Series games where you're playing in extra innings like that. You know, the release of when it's over and just a sheer joy if your team actually wins it. Yeah, in a tournament, that's difficult. I would not do a home run derby. I think you would just adopt the stupid man on second base.
Some of my best memories of both hockey and watching hockey and baseball were long overtime games.
Yeah.
Extra inning games that go to the 16th.
The hockey purists get so mad about the 3-on-3 or whatever it is that you play in overtime to promote scoring.
I would probably be disappointed in that too.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's
if I still watched, I would.
I would be 4-on-4, whatever it was when they played, in the Olympics, like the.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
The Canadians are like, oh, that's not a real win.
Yeah. John wants to know if you licked the Mountain Dew off the wall.
I did not lick the Mountain Dew off the wall. I'm sure I went and got paper towels and dabbed at the concrete while yelling.
It's alpaca. You pat that. It's alpaca. You don't wipe it. You pat that. Movie? Anybody?
Nope.
Anybody?
No.
American Gangster. One of Denzel Washington's greatest scenes.
It sounded like Denzel when you did it, but I didn't know if that was just you doing Denzel. I know that movie, Frank Lucas.
It's a great scene. Yeah. He spills it on the alpaca carpet.
It's a great movie.
And then he slams that one dude's head into the piano because he's wearing sunglasses inside. Oh, Frank Lucas. Oh, that's good.
Got an opinion on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed from Mark. He says, I have an opinion. We are being invaded by an army of middle schoolers riding their electric scooter and e-bikes. They appear to be growing on a daily basis. They are exempt from all the rules of the road.
This is exactly what the opinion that I was going to bring in, basically, is there's just like roving gangs of kids on electric scooters and bikes, which I don't really have a problem of people on bikes. I don't really care that it's an electric bike that much. What I do care is that it's like down the middle of the street. They go fast.
Yeah.
They don't pay attention to any road signs or care about that. I was walking with my kid the other day. He was in a wagon, and I had a kid in an electric scooter decide to play chicken with me, go right at me, and then swerve like 2 feet from me as like a game. If he does that again, I'll just happen to reach my arm out and
clothesline him.
Yeah, no, like
that's what I'm picturing.
You mess with my kid.
Yeah,
it's just me. I'm not going to care.
Right.
My kid's involved and his safety's involved, and you're in a 30-mile-an-hour scooter acting like an idiot because you're 12 years old.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem.
You're an idiot. We don't have that in Midtown.
Yeah,
I don't see that in Midtown.
No,
I can see that out there.
The Bennington Police Department put something out, I think, the other day. I don't know, is there a Bennington Police Department?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, so they put something out the other day that they're going to start trying to enforce this more. But yeah, it's like all over the neighborhood that I live in. There's like, and again, I was part of a group of kids that rode bikes places.
Yeah, me too.
Whatever.
Oh, yeah, everywhere I went.
When you're going down these streets and you're not stopping at stop signs and you're disrupting traffic, or even if you're going on walking paths, zooming by people at 20, 25 miles an hour, I don't know. It's somewhat problematic. Plus, people die from this. Like a man got hit by an electric scooter or bike somewhere in the South and was killed.
Yeah.
Here recently. So, but these things are dangerous.
I don't know why.
As a parent, I would be somewhat concerned about the safety.
Just teach them the rules. Indicate you're on the left.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're following the rules of turn signals. You teach them turn signals.
Stop at the literal
stop at the
sign.
stop sign. Just teach them the rules and learn them. Yeah. I have an opinion based off of that a little bit, that, and this sucks for you, maybe eventually for Joey. No matter how old your kids get, you never stop worrying about them when they leave the house. That's my opinion. I remember asking a person years ago, I said, my kids just started driving. When do you get to the point where you're not worried about them driving anymore? And they said, never. And I was like, that sucks. It's true.
That's a parent thing.
I can believe that.
You just never, ever, ever not get worried.
I have to imagine the idea of them driving, then it just brings on a whole other level of stress.
In teaching them to drive.
Oh, yeah. Well,
hopefully you have a sibling or a grandparent or somebody else who's willing to do it. If that happens for you, you're blessed. But if it's you,
it's
and
going to
your
be
kid
me.
says to you, I always forget which one is the pedal, which one is the gas, which one is the brake. While he's driving, it's terrifying.
Yeah,
it's not great.
They just don't give you the cars that have the brakes on your part of it as well.
He wants to use both feet driving. What I understand is girls are better at learning how to drive than boys, from what I'm told by parents. But I taught 2 boys. It was not fun.
All right, we got a few on the text line that I will run through here. All right, I have an opinion. LeBron fans are delusional if they think he deserves to have a statue with the other Lakers legends. He will never be known as a true Laker.
I agree with this because his only championship with them was that COVID bubble, that tournament that people seem to forget about.
2020.
Outside of that season, they haven't really done anything in the Western Conference.
I will never think of him as a Laker.
He set, now I'm not arguing towards anything LeBron, but he set a number of the all-time records as Lakers.
That is true. That is true.
So because of that, when you watch the video of when he broke this record or that record, he's going to be in that uniform.
That's an individual accomplishment. I'm talking about team accomplishments. Kareem,
but that's Kareem. I mean, Kareem won 5 championships.
Kobe's done that.
Yeah, but also the same thing about Kareem. You look at that. No, I don't. They're going to build a statue for him. That's what they do. They're a statue.
It doesn't bother me that
they're a statue building organization.
Yeah, I doubt I will ever think of him as a Laker when I look back on LeBron James.
Really? What, Miami?
It's going to be Miami. It's going to be the Cavs.
Cleveland.
And
right.
Those are going to be the thing. Like but that's also the bulk of when I cared about the NBA.
I'm just hoping I never have to look back at his career.
Good luck with that. Okay. All right. We have more opinions here. I have an opinion. The people that say that the afternoon show was very serious and all about sports when it was hosted by Kevin and Michael did not actually listen.
They couldn't have, because it wasn't. No. We had
there is a revisionist history.
We had a lot.
You guys were the sports reporters.
Yes, we were. We were the sports reporters. Yeah. We had a lot of guests and we had a lot of good conversations, but at the same time, between Kevin and John and Schick, those guys put on a show every day, especially Mondays and Fridays. It was not all about sports.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
I mean, we had a guy doing a voice of a guy who was the voice of the program at a higher speed and a squeakier thing, and compared him to being a part of the evil empire in Star Wars. I mean, that was common. Tiny would show up all over the place. And I still see that guy, and I go to church with that guy. But that's the way it is sometimes.
Yeah. No, it's just it's how people remember.
The AD was literally Palpatine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. Petey Shine was something that could never get out of my head. Do you know Petey Shine?
The song, right?
Well, no, it was a skit where you take this stuff and you put it in your eyes, and it made everything okay. Like at Nebraska was fine.
I know it's related to Steve Peterson.
If you just put the Petey Shine in your eye, all of a sudden now everything else that you're watching, this horrible football that was being played at times, was It's funny to think back. That wasn't horrible football compared to what
Right.
we've had the last 10 years.
Right.
But at the time, it was horrible football for Nebraska.
What's funny is it just makes me think of the Flex Seal meme.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Yes.
Oh, this thing's
Yes.
ruined.
Yep.
Bam.
Flex Seal. Same thing with Petey Shine.
All right, we have Pedro here. Hi guys, I have an opinion. Music is the one thing that connects generations. You should know the top songs that your parents listened to the year you were born. They might not tell you how you felt back then, how they felt back then, but the music they listened to will.
That's awesome. That's a great. You know what's funny about that though is as a kid, you never want to listen to that stuff. But by the time you are an adult, you're probably, because of nostalgia, looking back and listening finally to it. That's what Yacht Rock is.
I don't know. So my dad's like music interest died like around 1978.
I understand
Basically
that.
before, like as disco started to come into things,
Mhm.
anything that came after that, he was never interested
Yeah.
in. I don't know that like his level of interest, like he really liked the Beach Boys. Like that was his thing.
Oh,
I
you're
think
John
they're
Bishop's
fine.
dad.
Yeah.
No,
They're fine. He liked Charlie Pride. He liked some country. Like it's all fine.
yeah.
There's not a lot where I've like connected to that, but there's stuff that came after, like Bob Seger. He wasn't like a Leonard Skinner or any of that.
I would have liked your dad. A lot of the things you're saying about your dad, I would have liked your dad. Charlie
You would've
Pride,
liked
you know,
my
one of
dad
the few
quite a
black
bit.
people in country music was
My
on
dad
Hee Haw.
loved
I
Charlie
loved
Pride.
watching Hee Haw when Charlie Pride was on there.
My dad, like, I can visualize in that same basement where
Yeah.
I threw the Mountain Dew can, where he would put his, like, he had like the stereo set up where he had the headphones and everything.
Uh-huh.
He never used it for most of my childhood, but he had this whole array of like his CDs rode out and in their cases and everything. There's just all these Charlie
Prides. That's awesome.
He loved, and when he first got into, you know, having MP3s or whatever on a Apple, and he's having me download this music for him. He's like, you got to go get, remember Charlie Pride? He had probably like 60, 70 Charlie Pride songs on his.
My dad loved
touch.
Ray Charles.
Okay.
Ray Charles was his guy. I know all the Ray Charles songs.
Yeah.
We had his country songs. We had his gospel songs. We had his pop song. We had all of those. And still to the day, when I hear America the Beautiful, his version of it still affects me. Yeah.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's a great. I have an opinion.
No, definitely. All right. Well, what else we got here? I have an opinion. Okay, where do these
Got one from Gus Mohawk.
Okay,
He
go
says,
ahead.
I have an opinion. If Coach Osborne
that's
coached
the one I was
after
gonna read.
60, he would have won at least 3 more titles. Nick Saban won 5 of his titles after turning 60. To put in perspective, also with Crouch and that incoming recruiting class.
Two for sure.
99.
We've always said that.
99.
99, that defense by the end of the year was the most dominant defense. I went to that Fiesta Bowl for sure. I agree with that. And I think that another year just randomly with Carl Crawford as his quarterback, he wins one.
Man, Carl Crawford.
I think he wins one with Carl. Yeah. No, he retired. He was still 59.
There was health things at play.
He had
right?
the heart stuff, but it was about Nancy.
Oh, okay.
Nancy wanted him to do, some more time with her. And that's what he said, at least. And he wanted to do other things besides coach.
Yeah, well, that was a big thing.
You know?
Like his interest extended way beyond just being.
Yeah. But you think
the
about how
Nebraska
young
football
59 is now.
No, I know.
I am 56. I'll be 57 next month.
Are you going to retire in 3 years?
I don't think so. I would it'd be kind of cool. But he walked away at the top of a profession 2 years from now.
Yeah.
For me. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
And all the guys, obviously Bill Snyder came back in his 70s and, contemporary guys like that were
Had some
with
good
him.
seasons.
Yeah. And still had good seasons. Yeah. I think he wins at least 2.
It would have been fascinating.
I blame him. I did a podcast about this and we were talking about all the reasons why Nebraska fell off. He's the number one reason.
Well, yeah.
He left too early. He just
left
too
early, but then also, like maybe if he doesn't pick Frank Solich, whoever takes that job, I think that job, no matter who takes it, would have been very difficult.
It's always hard to be the man after the man,
Right.
but there were coaches out there. There were the young Urban Meyers. There were the young Bob Stoops. There were those guys who would have taken that job.
Sure.
So
the one that's always talked about is Mac Brown. Like that.
And then Mac Brown too. But the two I remember distinctly when you're talking about those years was Bob Stoops winning that title as the defensive coordinator with Florida, correct? And then also Urban Meyer coming off of his year. I believe it was Utah, or it might have been Bowling Green. I can't.
Urban Meyer would have been a little later, I think.
Yeah, I think it was
because Bowling Green for him, he was a head coach at Bowling Green after Osborne had retired.
Okay, So maybe that was.
I don't know where
decision-
he's a coordinator.
That might have been
at
the
that
decision
point,
after Solich. That might have been
That was a Solich
2003. That was a
that was
2003
definitely
thing.
a Solich.
Right, 2003.
At least as I
Yeah,
remember.
because Stoops won it in
But
'97.
Urban has since said like he wouldn't have had an interest in going to a place that fired a coach that was.
He has said
94.
that since, but
who knows when you're
think about
offered in
the
that
offer to
time.
go to Nebraska coming off,
Well, you're at Bowling
the
Green.
run
or
they
you're
had,
at-
he
yeah,
was at Bowling Green at 2001, 2002.
the '97 Bob Stoops winning that, being there at Florida, that would have been perfect.
Yeah,
you hired him at '98, right?
If you have the foresight to think that Bob Stoops is going to be that guy,
right?
That's always the challenge. Like we make it seem like it should be so easy to hire someone for these jobs, and
Do you hold?
there's so many factors that go into all of it.
Do you hold the AD years against him?
Not really. I think that people.
Do you personally think he made?
Here's
poor
my
decisions?
thing with Tom Osborne. I don't know how many hires he made actually helped Nebraska beat back.
That's what I'm asking.
Like, so I would never have hired Bo Pelini.
At the time, I
didn't want Bo Pelini.
I was
at all.
completely against it. I knew people at
Right.
LSU.
Right.
I knew people that worked in Tiger Vision
Right.
who told me that he was not the guy for the job. He wasn't ready for it. He had just had a fight with Jimbo Fisher in the locker room. All of that. Yeah, I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be Turner Gill. I really did.
Yeah. Well, and
Not saying that
it's
wasn't better, but I
wild
thought it'd be Turner
thinking
Gill.
about it. Like the other candidates were like Jim Grobe.
Yep,
or
that's one.
like
And Jim was too old. I said he wanted to bring his entire crew.
I wanted Brian Kelly.
It was Paul Johnson.
Yeah.
Paul Johnson was going to kind of run
I mean,
an
weirdly,
option.
I'd have been okay with Paul
I'd have been
Johnson.
fine with
too.
Paul Johnson for sure. But yeah, I thought it'd be Turner. Turner, he was in Turner's wedding. He loved Turner. I thought it'd be Turner.
That would have been really interesting. I don't know that it would have worked.
Yeah, I have no idea if it would have worked, but that's who I think it would have.
Joey, I know we have another one from Alex Sindelar. I can't get to it because the website is.
I can take a look. While I look for that, there was one from Old Man Doug I wanted to share. He says, he has an opinion. Schaefer would win a sword fight with Connor wearing Viking armor.
That is a loaded, packed statement.
Just yelling skull.
I would just yell skull
the whole time.
Sindelar says, I have an opinion. The Big East baseball tournament is the most sickle-pilled collegiate tournament that exists.
Most what?
Sickle-pilled?
Sicko.
Oh, sicko.
Sicko.
Okay.
I was picturing a sickle.
Yeah, I heard sickle as well.
I was thinking, yeah, that would hurt.
Wow.
You fought with those. I have an opinion. There is no one that has more irrational confidence about what he can do than Connor Happer.
Oh, 100%.
In the time I've been following Connor Happer, that dude has said that he could basically jump out of a plane and survive. He could fight a bear. He could, just credible confidence.
Yeah, I since he and I had started doing radio together, it is one of the things that has just always blown me away. It's like there's very little that he feels like he can't do.
Did he think he could rip an apple in half? Was that him?
I think so.
Yeah,
he tried, didn't he?
Yeah,
he was going to eat the 20 nuggets or whatever it was.
Faster than somebody else.
He did that on a crossover a long time ago.
He got through like 7.
Yeah, it was embarrassingly bad.
I mean, irrational. That's great. Good for him.
Yeah,
you need to have that.
I respect the confidence.
I respect it. Yeah, way to go.
But no, it is that is a fair opinion to end on here today. All right, we have Evan Bland coming up. We'll dive into what Nebraska baseball needs to do, if anything, to host a regional. His thoughts on how the Big Ten tournament has gone so far, this format, all that and more here on Happer and Schaefer. Welcome back to Happer and Schaefer here on Thursday morning, and we have Evan Bland from the Omaha World Herald joins us here. Nebraska baseball looks to continue its big season with the Big Ten tournament coming up, the two-time defending champions of the Big Ten tournament. But Evan, where I want to start is what I know is most near and dear to your heart, and that is the San Antonio Spurs. How are you feeling coming off of game 2 after a scintillating game 1? The Thunder were able to come back, tie it up. It's a 1-1 series. This is the thing that NBA fans have been waiting for pretty much all playoffs. How's it been so far for 2 games?
Oh man, I appreciate the question. Game 1 probably took about an hour at least for me to come down off of that thing from Wemby.
What did you think of that shot in that moment, that 3-pointer, the 30-foot shot?
I mean, I had put my kids down, and so I'm like celebrating silently because I hadn't fallen asleep yet. But it was like, triple fist pumps, and everyone was recalling the Steph Curry double bang shot from, a decade prior. But it's just like, how do you guard a guy like that? 7'4", he's going to pull up from the logo in the most clutch of moments and come through. Like, I don't know. He's not human, but he has the key block there late, and they win it. And I think game 2, it's so hard to win game 2 on the road after you've won game 1, especially because you expend so much energy and so much emotion, and the other team, in this case, happens to be the defending champs, are just laser focused, and it's not going to probably go your way. So not a shocking result in game 2, but they got the win on the road. They've got home court now, and it's essentially a best of 5 series. And, it kind of feels like this is the first of 5 or 10 years of these teams meeting up in these playoff moments.
I did not know that you were a Spurs fan.
Massive Spurs
what is
fan.
your origin story? How did you end up a Spurs? I'm assuming you're from Omaha, right?
Grew up in Lincoln.
Okay.
I was a David Robinson originally. Was the reason I became a Spurs fan, and they stunk the first year I started following them in '96, and then they drafted Tim Duncan, who became my all-time favorite player. And you know how you have like your spirit animals in like whatever sport? Like I always felt like Tim Duncan was how I would have operated if I was 7 foot tall and had that kind of ability.
Yeah.
Like I love the mid-range bank shots, the psychological warfare, all that stuff was just great. And so like their championship window was open for 20 years. And so to be, I was hooked. Not a big fan of really anything else Texas, but with the Spurs, that's been the exception for most of my life.
The last basketball shoes that I ever bought for like competitive reasons were a pair of Tim Duncans out of an East Bay magazine in 2004. So
there you go.
I went probably the only kid in Nebraska playing basketball with Tim Duncan's on.
I went to Wake, Maryland, when he hit 36 and sat on the floor. It was it's the greatest college basketball game, and I've been a national championship game that I've ever attended. It was
just because you got to be that.
Because I was sitting there, and because Tim Duncan, every time he touched the ball, scored.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
That would have been pretty awesome. All right, Evan. Big Ten baseball tournament. We watched kind of the format play out a little bit. What are your thoughts so far? I mean, this is another year, another format, another sort of throw it against the wall and see if it sticks for Big Ten coaches. What do you think so far as we're one day away from finally the rest of the grouping getting involved on Friday?
Yeah, I think the format is working as intended. It's way better than last year. Like, let's
agreed, 100%.
Be honest with that. The one last year was sort of cobbled together because of the addition of the West Coast teams, and they just had to figure something out. This year, like the whole design was to meet the Big Ten where it is as a program that's a little bit more nationally relevant. And so the idea was your top 4 seeds are going to be teams that you need to protect, teams that are already into NCAA tournament, and your seeds 5 through 12 are going to be those teams that need to make a run, or if you're a bubble team that you could use a couple extra wins to maybe get you over the top in terms of your profile. And it's worked out that way where, your top 4 are safely in the tournament field. I think all 4 of them, when you talk about USC, Nebraska, Oregon, and UCLA, are in that hosting conversation. And and so you want to limit your exposure to a loss there, right? So like if you're Nebraska right now and you're on that regional host bubble, or I think they're safely on the inside, but if you say that they're on the regional host bubble, the worst thing that can happen is you lose one game. Whereas a year ago, you had pool play, you could have lost twice, and that would have been more damaging. So I personally think this is a format that'll stick as long as the Big Ten is at 17 baseball teams. Again, just because the top end should be now teams that are contending for those top 16 national seeds, and then the rest, allows you to play multiple games to boost your stock.
I never know how old you guys are. Were you in college during the 2001, 2, 05, that era when they were going to the College World Series?
Yep,
okay.
I was.
Which team of those teams does this one remind you the most of?
I don't know, 02 maybe. It's because the 05 team I always think of as the one with the dominant rotation.
Yep.
And this isn't necessarily that. Like, this is a good rotation, but I wouldn't say that it was necessarily dominant.
It's not the same level as that, for sure.
No, like those guys, you kind of knew that they were going to have pro careers, and I think some of these guys might. I mean, I think Carson Yasa's got a chance, and potentially Ty Horn, but I think it's probably those earlier 2000s teams, just because of the lineup, and they had some stars, but it was really more of a collective effort. It was the power of culture. It was the power of the whole being, greater than the individual parts. And so, I think it's kind of like that. And there's sort of that feeling like they're doing it again for the first time. Like Nebraska's been to the College World Series, but it's been a whole generation since they've essentially hosted a regional and excelled to the level that they're at right now. So it kind of feels like it's fresh and new. And so I guess I would say, probably the 01, 02 team probably give off those vibes a little bit more to me.
Evan, you wrote a story for the World Herald today about one of the things that I have enjoyed the most with this Nebraska baseball team. I was joking with Michael Bruns a few weeks ago that I wanted to do a deep dive and talk to Will Bolt about what it is about this group that results in so many guys getting hit by pitches. You went ahead and did this. What did you learn, as you kind of put this together? Nebraska set a team record for being hit by pitches this year.
Yeah, 119 past last year's record. And I was just curious, like, how much of a number like that is just pure random luck, and how much of that is something you can actually coach or work on. And I think it's a blend of the two, certainly. Like, they talk about hit or get hit and anchor down, and this idea that, like, if you're really locked in on a pitch, then you're probably not going to get out of the way because you're so focused on what you're doing. And so, and honestly, the number could have been probably 5 to 10 higher, except some of those were ruled to have been like intentional, where you put your elbow on the pitch and that sort of thing. So, but like, what I thought was most interesting is you go back and you look at some of the comebacks that Nebraska's had this year, especially even in the last 2 weeks, really. And most of them include a hit by pitch that helped set the table or move the line and set up something bigger. I think about that Drew Grigo grand slam that clinched the sweep against USC. Well, right before that, Jet Buck takes a breaking pitch that didn't break under the underside of the brim of his helmet. And so they still joke about that. And, Jeter Wordley's a freshman catcher who's been beaned 19 times at this point. And so, like, it spurs your offense on. It's demoralizing to other pitchers, and it's something that is ingrained. I think that was the other thing, is like, if you watch a Nebraska baseball scrimmage, every now and again they just stop what they're doing. The game halts and they do 10 burpees, and it's because someone got out of the way of a pitch when they shouldn't have. And so, like, that's something that they've had hammered into them for months and years for a lot of guys that have been around. And so, just one of those extra little ingredients, I think, that goes into what this offense has become and why it's so deep and relentless 1 through 9.
I was wondering about this because obviously Nebraska didn't play UCLA. Since those West Coast teams joined, is it kind of like a rotation where you're going to get 3 of those teams and not get one of them, or have they figured out the way the schedule is going to work? Is there going to be one of those West Coast teams they don't play in a series every year? Do you know how that works?
Well, I know with Nebraska, it's been 2-2.
Okay.
So they didn't play UCLA or Washington this year. They played both of those teams last year, but not USC and Oregon. So I don't know if that's true for every single one. I think the Big Ten tries to limit those West Coast trips for teams to maybe one.
Gotcha.
So I think that tends to be the idea. But I mean, it makes a big difference, right? Like this year, I mean, you think about how they avoided UCLA, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I suppose is debatable, but it absolutely affected the outcome of the standings down the stretch. And that 2-week span when they went to Oregon and then hosted USC, like that was the defining point in the season where they go 4-2 and essentially announce themselves as national seed type contenders. So, I mean, it's certainly been a huge addition for the league. Like you think about 3 years ago and beyond that, like you got into Big Ten play and it was really hard to make a national statement on any given weekend.
Yep.
And so what a turnaround that's been. I think a boost for the league now where there should at least be one weekend, maybe 2. And if you count the Big Ten tournament 3 times now in the season when you can really announce yourself on a national scale. And I think Nebraska's been one of those teams that have capitalized on that here the last couple of years.
Do you think Nebraska wants Ohio State instead of Michigan just for that opportunity to erase that sweep? And then what do you think actually plays out this whole weekend?
So, yeah, they get the Michigan Ohio State winner, and so I think who you want maybe it says a little bit about you as a person. Like you could go for the revenge tour and go for Ohio State after they swept you a few weeks ago, or you could go Michigan, which is the better RPI bet if you're talking about just improving your resume a little bit more. Michigan would be a quad 2 game. Ohio State, it's kind of interesting. They're like right on that line between a quad 2 and a quad 3. So like if you're of the mind that Nebraska could still improve its profile, maybe move up a national seed line or 2, you probably want Michigan in that regard. So, we'll see how that shakes out. I think, Michigan's probably the better matchup for Nebraska at this point, but either way, whoever wins is going to be playing their 4th game in 4 days. And Nebraska's going to have Carson Yassa going. So that's part of the setup of it. But I mean, I think the tournament will probably play out the way the format is pushing it to, where your top 4 seeds haven't even played yet. That's going to happen Friday, Saturday, Sunday when they join the fun. It's just, I mean, unless you're facing someone who's on a real heater, like you're going to run out of pitching at some point. It's such a challenge to play Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you're going to win, like good luck doing that unless your offense is hitting like crazy. So, I would imagine UCLA would still be your obvious favorite. The number 1 team all year. They haven't lost a weekend yet since the season began in mid-February. But to me, maybe the more interesting piece then becomes how between Nebraska, USC, and UCLA and Oregon, how that plays out in terms of the national hosting discussion. Because USC, like if I'm USC, I'm saving Mason Edwards, the Big Ten Pitcher of the Year, for Saturday against UCLA, because they need a quality win to, I think, be really considered for a regional host. And especially if you can do that a couple of days before the selections are made, like that can make a big difference. So how does USC play things? Oregon, like Nebraska, is right on that line. So what happens if those 2 teams meet in a semifinal? It kind of feels like maybe that's sort of a tiebreaker if it comes down to teams like that. So sort of stories within the stories there. But, if nothing else, Nebraska is going to draw a huge crowd tomorrow night in that prime 5 p.m. spot, weather permitting, and should be a lot of fun. This is where Nebraska's gotten right the last couple of years. You talk about winning 9 Big Ten tournament games in a row. Something tends to agree with them, and we'll see if that continues.
All right, Evan, appreciate it. Thanks for jumping on here with us today on Happer and Schaefer, and we will catch you at the ballpark this weekend and your work in the Omaha World Herald. Thanks, Evan.
Thanks, Evan.
Nice chatting with you guys. See ya.
Talk to you later, man.
All right. That was Evan Bland, and we will be returning here on Happer and Schaefer to finish out the 8 o'clock hour. Welcome back here on Happer and Schaefer. Final time here in the 8 o'clock hour. We got a late arriving. I have an opinion,
Yes.
or maybe we just missed it. We probably
No,
just
it was late arriving.
It was
I
at
think.
8:20. It wasn't that late.
Yeah,
Apparently, I showed it on the screen here.
We were
which is
deep
not
into a
what I was
discussion
intending
about
to do.
something.
something else.
We were asked, basically, or not really asked. Just, I have an opinion. There would have been a riot if Frank Solich was not hired to replace Osborne. You asked me during the break how I felt like that would have played out because I was living here or was living in Nebraska, and you weren't living in Nebraska at that time. My frame of reference is I was too young to probably really know what the actual viewpoint of it was. I just remember being really sad that Tom Osborne was retiring because, like I said, it was relayed to me that it's a health thing, you know. And
Yeah.
when you're as a kid, you're told something's a health thing.
Oh my God, he's gonna die.
You always assume someone's going to die,
Right.
or at least maybe that was just a me thing,
Right.
But if I was ever told that there was a health issue with someone,
Right.
my instant reaction was to assume that they were going to die and relatively soon.
Sure.
And I don't know where that stems from or why that was, but I mean, it's 2026 and Tom Osborne is still with us.
Yes,
and
even though there was a fake post and message going around last week saying that he was in hospice.
Yeah, there was,
which forced
I have heard
us to have to call and check and make sure and find out that he was at work that day at Teammates.
Yeah.
But yes, here's my relationship with it. Okay. So I came here in 1998 for the first time because I was covering Louisiana Tech.
Sure.
After that game, going to the post game, no one I talked to liked Frank Solich because they had just given up a record to Tim Rattay for passing and Troy Edwards receiving yardage, right? 400 some whatever yards he had receiving.
A rare bad Steelers pick, right?
Yeah, that's true. And 16th overall, I think.
Yeah, they took him. I thought it was even higher than that. Yeah.
And so they took him in the first round, and I thought Troy was going to be great. But all I heard was, oh my God, they're going to suck now because they'd given up. Now they beat Louisiana Tech by 30, I believe. If I remember the game correctly.
But people care about how the defense
But
looks.
the way it looked, so it's halftime, and I'm standing outside the Louisiana Tech locker room, and Troy walks by, and I go, Troy, man, you told me you're going to light them up. And he goes, got a little bit of a stutter. He's like, you wait. And he did. He lit him up. But and now retroactively, I don't know anyone that claims they were for Frank Solich getting the job in 98. Not that I know of, but of course it's so long afterwards.
That's such a fascinating period of time. And like we talked about, if it wasn't Frank, then the name that's always sort of been bandied about is, and I think it's because Bill Byrne said that his call would have been to Mac Brown if he was allowed to make that hire.
I say Lee Barfnick wrote that article. I remember later looking back.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, which would make sense. He was at North Carolina at the time or Tulane?
He was at North Carolina
okay.
at the time. Yeah.
Okay. So he went from Tulane to North Carolina.
Again, the idea of an outside hire, though, always strikes me as just the way people reacted to Bill Callahan, the way that all of that went down, this being such an insular fan base.
But the Callahan thing has got so much
there's layers
because of the 50-day search.
Yeah.
Right? If that was the first person you picked, and I told you at a fan at that time and saying, you're getting a guy who was just in a Super Bowl 2 years before, who is a great offensive line coach, and is going to recruit like crazy, you'd probably been fine with it. But you'd heard 6 other names by the time it got
and you and I have texted about this because I said it on this show, and I think you agree with I was of the mindset of 2007. I wanted him to have another year.
I agree.
I wanted to move on from Cosgrove and be like, okay, he replaces his coordinator.
And keep that class. That class was going to be really good in 08.
And then I was bought in on that, okay, they're bringing in talent. You give it time to see where it goes.
Yep.
But, it was a tough sell. It was a tough sell.
All you had to do was win one game in 06. Win the big. All you have to do.
Don't lose to a wide receiver at quarterback.
Yes. Very well.
Paul Thompson, right? Is that his name?
Yeah, because Paul was Landry Jones.
They ran an out route, and Kevin Cosgrove had never seen the out route before, is basically from
what lost the game were 2 passes that Zach didn't have enough mile per hour on it. If he has 2 more miles per hour.
Well, that fumble. That game started with
the fumble. Pure 5
fumble,
fumbles. At the beginning of the game, and that gets him a score. But if you go back, he had, I believe I'm not mistaken, the same guy picked both of them, right?
I think
and wasn't he a guy who was recruited by Nebraska?
It was a safety. Who
not Harris. Is it Harris?
No, it wasn't Harris.
What's his name?
I'm gonna need some time to think on it.
But
I remember this. I remember that.
He threw that pass, And I remember being in the stands looking at it, and it was an out route to the far side end zone from where we were sitting in the press box, and you could see that it wasn't going to be complete. It was going to be picked. You could see it developing. You're like, oh no. And if he completes either one of those, they probably win the game.
Oh no, words to describe Nebraska.
And then from there on, you never know what happens with Bill Cowher. Maybe he does leave to go back to the pros. I don't know. But I know that at that point, he wins that game.
Yeah.
Never know.
All right, Happer and Schaefer, 9:00 hour when we return.
Happer and Schaefer.
Welcome back here on Happer and Schaefer, 9 o'clock hour. And look, do you like fun? Of course you like fun.
Hell
why
Yes, we
not-
do. Yes, we do.
Yes, I love fun.
Why not get yourself out to Funplex, where 1620 The Zone is teaming up with Funplex to offer the VIP Friends Night Out giveaway.
No way.
Grab your crew and level up your summer plans with the VIP Friends Night Out giveaway. You could score 6 tickets to Nights at the Bay, a Funplex, a private cabana, and $100 to party in style. On select Saturday nights, the Funplex Water Park transforms into a high-energy dance party with Nights at the Bay, featuring live bands and the best DJs, bringing nonstop hits and summer vibes. Belly up to the Tiki Bar at the 1,800-square-foot pool, complete with perimeter seating and island bar tops. Enjoy a cold beer, a frozen drink, or the Funplex famous watermelon.
Have you ever gotten a cabana
Get signed
before?
up at 1620thezone.com.
Have you got a cabana before?
No. Well, no.
I haven't.
We got one at Legoland. Legoland has a water park
Legoland has a water park
in San Diego,
Okay.
and we were
How
over
many
in that side.
Legolands are there now? There
I know
used to only
Kansas
be
City-
like 2.
I just know Kansas City.
There was
and San
one
Diego.
in Minneapolis.
Wasn't there one in Kansas City?
The Mall of America used to have
Yeah,
one.
and then the one in San Diego is the only one I've been to.
Okay, but then there's one of them is in Denmark, like one of the
Oh,
really big.
well, that's what
ones.
they invented Legos.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but the original 2 I thought were always in Denmark and then Minneapolis, and then I think they added on.
We've been going to San Diego. We went to San Diego the first time was in 2009. Because my wife was 2010 because you'd already had Logan.
Are we talking about the store or the
There's
park?
a park, Legoland
There's
park.
there's 12
12. Wow.
of them, and then there's 3 planned at the moment.
Okay, and in it they has a water park, and we got a cabana for just us, which is great because when you're done, wearing yourself out in the water park, you then go into your cabana. You can just close the thing and you hang out there. You bring your drinks in there, you eat your food in there. It gets you a little bit away from everybody.
Yeah.
Your kids can rest
a
a little bit.
privacy.
Yeah, they're really fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into having a cabana, which I can do at Funplex.
You can. Yes, you
Get
can.
signed up 1620thezone.com. All right, let's recap a little bit of Big Ten baseball action that we've had so far, just to set things up in this new tournament format that we were going over with Evan Bland. So we mentioned Nebraska will play the winner of tonight's game between Ohio State and Michigan, who meet there because they both lost at one point. Ohio State lost on Tuesday, I believe. Tuesday, yesterday. And then won against Rutgers, lost Tuesday, won yesterday against Rutgers to advance to this game. Michigan lost last night to Washington. And so Washington won that pod of 4 teams. They will go on to play Oregon, and they play them at 9:00 tomorrow night. Nebraska still awaits the winner of Ohio State and Michigan. Other side of the draw, Michigan State, the last team in the field. They
It doesn't show
only-
that. It doesn't. So is this am I looking at the wrong thing?
Well, they screwed up their graphic.
Oh, okay. Because it makes it look like Washington is going to go play Nebraska.
Right. They
made-
really screwed up the look of this
Oh,
graphic in an
okay.
impressive
Because then it
fashion.
starts over. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're like the winner of that little double elimination
Yep.
bracket. So below them, Ohio State, Michigan.
see that.
They are
Looks
for
like they're going to play the
qualifier
winner
4.
of Oregon and
They should have moved Nebraska where they have Oregon
Yes.
sitting. and
Oh,
so
oh,
the
wait,
graphic
oh,
would
wait.
flow better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I could see. I
That's
could
what they
understand.
should've
I
because
know
done.
see-
exactly because I looked at that. Well, they screwed it up when they sent it out. They put the
Oh,
wrong
Yeah,
team.
I'm looking at the Big Ten's website, and it's very.
that's what I'm
confusing.
looking at too.
Yeah, because you can see Washington near
Shockingly.
the Nebraska area, so they are playing either Ohio State or
Michigan. By the way, did you know that that's a rivalry?
Oh,
Ohio State, Michigan.
is it?
Yeah, been back, go ways back.
Really?
They don't like each other.
I always assumed just that physical location being so close to each other. that
They
there would just be-
states don't like each other.
Was it
apparently.
built on
It's
a
over-
friendly rivalry, built on respect?
No.
It's over. It's over the Toledo. It's over Toledo. That's how the hatred
Is that the
started.
hub of the rivalry?
It's a song that I actually
Nobody
have on
wants
my
to
phone.
claim Toledo.
I
Is
have
what
that
it is?
song on my phone.
What?
The I Hate Michigan song.
Oh,
I have that.
Where
Yeah.
Do you
from
hate Michigan? Is that a
Ohio-
program?
Oh, I
hey!
hate Michigan. I hate Michigan. Yeah, I hate
Did
the
you
whole
hate
state.
Michigan?
The whole state of Michigan.
Why? Where's
I
this
don't
come
like
from?
the shape.
Okay.
I
You
don't
don't like
like.
that it's split up?
I think that looks like a,
Well,
a mitten.
hold on now. The Upper Peninsula is highly underrated. That's
It's one of the coldest places on the planet.
It's
Have you been there?
yeah,
It's
I've been there.
ridiculously cold.
It's beautiful up there.
But it's
Joey's gonna stump for
freezing
Michigan.
It's
cold.
beautiful
Like
up
If
there.
it's
I've
too
been
cold
I've,
for me, Joey, it's too cold.
I've stayed in a cabin up there for 5 years. It's beautiful up
in
there.
the winter.
Not in the winter. In
Okay,
the summer.
I've only been
been
in the
gone
winter.
up there in the summer.
Yeah.
I was over in Green Bay several times when it got a little chilly.
Yeah, Detroit sucks, Joey.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
Detroit
It stinks.
sucks.
It stinks.
The whole state of Michigan. Okay, I'm going to throw East Lansing in there. Michigan football thinks they invented football,
Yep.
which they didn't.
No,
They think
didn't.
their helmet's so great. Delaware's got the same thing. Overall,
I have hatred for Michigan University, so I will agree with you
Okay.
anything you said. I have a Ohio State grad sister.
okay.
She graduated from Ohio State.
So Joey claims Ohio
Joy,
State
they
now.
made us pay $150 for our SAT truck to park in the parking lot
I can't believe this.
of Michigan to cover the game. We are we are
Well,
a
it's a
network-
privilege to be anywhere near the University of
Exactly.
Michigan.
It's a privilege, right? It's a privilege to go to
Yeah.
a stadium that's so poorly built that it's not even loud, even you
Yep.
got 100,000 people there. Screw Michigan. The whole state of Michigan.
I support
Whole
all
state of
this.
Michigan.
Joey, hit him with a rant gun. What are we doing here? I support any hate on Michigan. That has been long before Nebraska was even the Big Ten. Michigan is a program that I've always I don't know if it stems from '97. I don't
Yeah,
know
I didn't-
exactly. That doesn't have like a big part of it.
Yeah.
A lot of it is just like the sheer hubris
Exactly.
of Michigan. football.
Yes.
They love the cheat too.
Like
Don't
stomach
forget that.
full-
Well, and then all of that only added.
This latest championship makes me so mad only because it broke my saying of all they got is a half a national championship since integration.
Yeah.
They won a bunch before integration.
Look,
But
it
once
makes
integration-
me mad because one, they won it.
Yeah.
2, they
And
cheated to do
They
it.
cheated to do it.
3, it resulted in that awful quarterback ending up on my NFL team. There's no way he's taking that pick if they don't win the national championship.
JJ is going to make you feel bad for yourself later in life.
Look,
He's going to have a Baker type of
fine, he can do
Daniel
it somewhere
Jones,
else.
all those guys.
He was awful.
He's going to be really good someplace. He hasn't got a lot
Awful.
of starts. He's got to get more starts, get more experience.
I saw enough. I mean,
I saw
look,
one snap. It was done.
Here's how biased I am. I was so against it. I saw enough before he
took a snap. Yeah.
So the chances of him
Yeah.
making me feel
Oh,
bad,
I understand. Danny Werfel was drafted by the Saints. I know the feeling.
I'd rather have no. I would.
No, you
I
would not.
I'm not
This guy
saying
physically could not play quarterback
that. I would not
in the
say
NFL. Yeah.
that. So okay,
Yeah,
other side
okay,
of the bracket.
yes.
Yeah,
Brackets.
Michigan. Yeah, Michigan State's going to play USC. They won through their run of teams over there, which included
And they're the 12 seed.
Iowa, Illinois, and Purdue.
Wow.
Michigan State only in this tournament because Nebraska swept Minnesota,
right.
which included the insane 6-run win
Yes.
on Friday night.
Yes.
Only reason Michigan State's here, they've won 2 straight games.
Good job.
We'll see what happens with USC. Evan Bland mentioned USC maybe should hold back their best pitcher rather than throwing
They should
him
not
on.
do that.
No,
Just
just
team
get-
was one.
You got a team like Michigan State that's hot. You just,
And UC's got one good win over the last season.
no, I agree.
Yeah.
They
In
they
Big Ten
need to
play.
win this game.
Yeah.
And so then Michigan State went 2-0 in their run of it. And then we'll see Iowa, who won against Illinois.
Boo.
And then Purdue, who is expected to be in the NCAA tournament, but a loss to Michigan State to start things off did not help their resume. They did beat Illinois, and I think they probably have a good shot of beating Purdue here.
So UCLA 's
However,
playing
you
the
win,
winner of
then you
Purdue.
get UCLA,
Purdue and Iowa, the winner of that playing UCLA.
Yeah.
Okay.
which is a unfavorable spot to beat for the
Right.
most part.
UCLA's lost 2 games in the last 2 weeks,
Well, they have lost 2
and they
games.
hadn't lost in a long time.
Yeah, I still feel like you'd probably rather have one of the other draws if you were
Probably.
those teams.
Makes
But
sense.
look, you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit, they say. So
Get what you get. You don't throw a fit.
that is
Haven't heard that in
that's
a
what's
long time.
happening.
I have
So
not either.
when we get to Friday, 9 a.m. for USC, 1 p.m. for the UCLA game against either Iowa or Purdue. Nebraska will play at 5 p.m. against the winner of Ohio State or Michigan. And then the late night game, Oregon and Washington. And then today, the action starts at 2 o'clock, Purdue and Iowa. And then the 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock game, Ohio State and Michigan.
I think we should give Michigan to Canada, and we take Puerto Rico and make them the 50th state. Trade, make a trade.
I'm good
Canada,
with it.
you can
They-
have Michigan. We'll
Puerto
take
Rico
Rico.
is a U.S. territory.
Much prettier place, better food.
You been to Puerto Rico?
Oh yeah, Puerto Rico is
I'd like
awesome.
to go over there.
Both for a short period of time and for a little bit of time, for about a week and one time for about an hour and a half.
So Cleveland went over to play because Francisco Lindor's from there, and they did this 2-game set with the Twins. They were going to go play over there, and I priced it all out to try to go to this thing, and just ended up not doing it. Well, they ended up playing in one of those games that we were discussing where it went 18 innings.
Oh yeah.
Lindor ends up hitting a home run off of the foul pole, making it
to win it.
They weren't the home team.
Oh,
okay. But to take the lead. Just total pandemonium in that stadium.
Really?
I do love when sports travels for those sort of things where you see what it means to those communities to have that opportunity to host something.
Yeah.
Because that was a really cool scene. That would have been 2018, somewhere around there. But that was the only real time I had super interest in getting to Puerto Rico.
It's one of the places.
There's all of those places over there that I want to get. I want to go to Aruba.
I would say go to Puerto Rico, go to Dominican Republic.
Yeah. I want to go to the Dominican.
We went to Costa Rica recently. Expensive.
I want to go to Punta Cana.
So many nice people. Went to Punta Cana. Puerto Plata and Punta Cana, the two places in Dominican Republic. Costa Rica was incredible. Beautiful. Probably the prettiest place I've ever been.
Really?
It's so green, and it's just green forever.
Yeah.
All the way to this giant mountain that has this low cloud cover for most of the day. And throughout it, there's just all of these trees and plants and random animal. It's a beautiful place. I save your money because it's expensive as hell, but it's beautiful.
Well, it'll only be more expensive by the time that I attempt to.
It gets more and more expensive by the day.
Yeah, well, that's life.
Yes.
And that is super fun. That's why you should be signing up for the contest at 1620 The Zone. We'll help you save money. We'll help you be able to do things.
This is to go to Funplex?
Well, you can go to Funplex to start there, but just other things. We have tons of contests.
Oh, okay, awesome.
At 1620.
Are they just handing out cash?
Sometimes.
I like that. You need that cash.
They don't hand it out. You have to sign up and get yourself
right.
involved, and then potentially the cash.
I think I saw McMaster handing someone, or was it you? Somebody was handing somebody a giant check.
Oh, that was Nick. That was
Nick. The other guy. Nick was handing out a. Look at you. You give him the finger. That's awesome. Joey posted a picture of him giving the finger to Michigan.
Look at that.
Yeah.
I would just stand outside and sing the song really loud.
Look at that.
Play on my phone.
We are we're going to take a break. We come back. Okay. Nate Rohr will join us. We will talk about Nebraska softball, their matchup with Oklahoma State this weekend, and all of that it entails as they try to get to the Women's College World Series later this year. To Happer and Schaefer, Michael Severe filling in for Connor Happer, who is calling Big East baseball today as Creighton will get underway here in about an hour. Is that right, Joey?
Yeah, about an hour and a half.
Yeah, sorry, it's 11 today. All the start times from yesterday have run together for me. So 10:45 pregame
on 1180 Yacht Rock.
Catch that on Yacht Rock. If you are watching the stream right now, you are seeing the voice of Nebraska softball as Nate Rohr joins us to talk about a big super regional, which is being hosted in Lincoln. And as Nate gave me the rundown when I talked to him earlier this week and explained to me why I was so jarred by the fact Nebraska never hosted, the whole way that this setup didn't exist previously. And so Nebraska's opportunity when they were rolling in the late 90s, early 2000s, they didn't have an opportunity to host a super regional that's set up that way. So, Nate, we have arrived. It is almost time for Nebraska softball. How fired up are you for this matchup that's going to feature pitchers almost exclusively from the state of Nebraska?
Bouncing off the walls. I mean, the fact that you're talking about, somebody in Ruby Malin who has such a history with a lot of the key parts in this series. I mean, she played club ball with Jordy. She played high school ball with the Camensons. She's from Omaha. Her grandfather is a great Husker. I mean, it all adds up. There are enough storylines here. There's a little worry here just because Ruby has had a good amount of success against Nebraska whenever she's pitched against them, but Nebraska also beat them the last time the teams matched up. So there's hope, there's worry. It's high stakes. It's at home. It's a team that Nebraska's seen a whole lot, not just in non-conference and not just this year, but two of the last times they went to the NCAA tournament. So there's a lot here is the short of it. And it's a highly intriguing super regional. I mean, there's part of me that wishes it just set up to be a cakewalk. This isn't going to be that. This is going to be a battle this weekend at Bowling, no question.
Nate, go back to that first matchup because obviously Malin pitched great, but at the same time, Nebraska had a ton of opportunities to get to her, right? 8 hits or whatever. They had ladies on base all over the place. What do you remember most about that 11-inning game?
Just really feeling like you were banging your head against the wall against her. I mean, remember, she had been undefeated against Nebraska in her career, both at Washington and at Oklahoma State. And so there was this feeling of, well, this is maybe a step in the right direction because at least we're getting hits off her, but also she has a level of voodoo on us. She's got something on us that she just bears down and gets out of innings and finds her way. And, they were still trying to settle the lineup. They were still trying to figure out exactly how they were going to set things up at that time. But just the frustration and the idea that, hey, maybe Ruby Malin does in fact own us. Now that was refuted in the next game,
right.
The win on Saturday over Oklahoma State. But at that time, there was just that sense of dread of, oh, geez, she's got us.
So Nate, one of the things, and I'm super prone and guilty of this. You make Nebraska softball almost one or two players when you talk about the impact of a Jordy Fromm or an Alexis Jensen. Who else, if you're building that out, who are 2 or 3 other people that you think are going to have a big impact for Nebraska to be able to advance this weekend? Like as much as you just want to believe that Jordy Fromm and Alexis Jensen can put up as many zeros as humanly possible, Nebraska's still got to be able to score runs. It can't always be Fromm, can't always be Jensen. Who else do you think can have a big impact this weekend?
Well, I'll move down to the 3 and 4 spots in the order. Hannah Cammenson and Ava Kuzak. And Hannah had the big home run on Sunday to win the regional. But they're going to need a little more consistent production out of her. And then Ava Kuzak's been up and down the stretch run of the season. And you trust that Jordy and Hannah Core can get on base. Hannah Core has been one of the hitters that's still been pretty good into the NCAA tournament. So you trust that those two will get on base. But when you get them on base, and especially when you get them to second, can you score them? Because, Ron Ravel talked about this yesterday, that regionals and postseason softball in particular, because you're always throwing your best pitchers, or you're usually throwing your best pitchers, it's a lower run environment. This is not a time of the year where you're scoring 7, 8, 9 runs very often. Nebraska's going to have to win this series 3-2, 2-1, 4-3 in that neighborhood. And so if they get just a little bit more production, and if they're able to cash in those opportunities a little more often, they'll be able to win this series. And that relies on the heart of your order.
Is there anything that would tell you that Ruby and Jordy have more than just a friendly rivalry? Is there anything about maybe that there's a little bit more animosity there? Because we'd like a little bit more animosity, in my opinion, because it's good for ratings.
It's funny. I happened to be walking with Jordy as she left the pre-super regional media gathering, and Ruby Malin was sitting there waiting for practice, and they just stared at each other. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I wish. Oh, damn it!
No,
Next,
I'm kidding. They were cordial. They were friendly. Hi, how you doing? Because I don't get a lot of time around other teams' players, and I'm not able to really get a sense of where Ruby is. I can't say anything on her part. And I think Jordy, she's done enough to where she can feel good about what she's done, without comparing to Ruby Malin. So I don't feel like there's a rivalry there per se, where they just don't like each other. They were club teammates. I think they're cordial. They both complimented each other yesterday. I didn't feel like there was any even sort of back and forth there, or veiled pot shots or anything there. I think, I don't know that they're friends of any sort, but I don't think that there's particular animosity one way or another. And also factoring into this, I mean, while Ruby Malin is at Oklahoma State, and while she probably heard plenty about what Jordy Fromm did all those years to Oklahoma State, she wasn't there. Jordy had come back by the time that Ruby got down to Oklahoma State. So even what could have kindled that rivalry a little more at the college level didn't materialize.
Nate, the first game is tonight, Thursday night, 8:00 at Bowlin Stadium. What do you think that atmosphere is going to look like deep under the lights on ESPN2? There's been plenty of discussion about who's been able to get tickets, how they were able to get tickets, all of that. We're finally here. It's game day.
Yep.
What do you think it's going to look like? What do you think it's going to sound like in that environment coming off of the region?
Oh, I think it's going to be super intense. I'm not worried about the late night crowd not bringing it. I think people are sufficiently aware of what Oklahoma State is and what they can do, to where, they'll be into every moment. They know that Oklahoma State poses a challenge. I mean, they've been to supers 5 out of the last 6 years. They've been a program that's constantly been there. And, they've ended Nebraska's season once in the last 5 years and knocked them into the elimination bracket another. So people know this is a good Oklahoma State team. I don't think anybody is expecting Nebraska to cakewalk into this thing. And so I feel like this is going to be a great atmosphere. I think people understand getting a lead in this series is going to be critical because, you trust that if you win game one, you just have to split. You just have to go 1 for 2. Whereas if Ruby Malin and Oklahoma State win game one, you worry, okay, now they just have to split. So I think it's going to be jacked.
Give me the overall. You're going to put a game total. How many runs scored in the series? total between the two teams?
In the series, I expect this thing to go 3 games.
Over
Uh,
10?
Say what?
Over 10?
Yes, I would say over 10.
Okay, plus 10 and a half.
I sure wouldn't go past 15. You're talking about you're talking about, I mean, a 4-3 game. You get 2 4-3 games, and then it's 1-0.
Yeah, or you
So-
get 2-1 games though.
Yeah, that's true, and that very well could happen.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say 15.
Okay.
But 10 wouldn't shock me.
Where do you think this team is, like, from a mental standpoint? Like, is there just a wash of confidence because of how things have sort of gone for them? I mean, they went through the Big 12, or Big 10. They won that tournament. They went through the regular season. What do they lose? 6 games total. Obviously, one of them to this Oklahoma State team. They're playing at home in front of their fans and all of that. Like, is there just, when you talk to them, when you interact with them, do you just feel like there's a ton of confidence radiating off of this group?
That's the feel I've gotten so far, and Jordy talked about how loose they were at practice yesterday, which I think is important, because my worry would be, okay, they were loose all the way up to regionals. Regionals got kind of tough. Maybe they're worried. Maybe they're in their own heads offensively. But the sense was that they were fairly loose at practice as well. So that's a good place to be. Now, there's going to be some stuff in their stomach that isn't usually there, because in a lot of ways it's felt like this season, the regular season, the run through the Big Ten tournament, the regional, has all been a prelude to get back here and to advance from here. Well, now the rubber's meeting the road. And I'm hopeful that they're able to keep some distance between that idea and where they are, because that puts a lot of pressure on you, and pressure doesn't work usually. But there's just some of that's going to come in, and they're going to have to deal with here today, because there are things on the line right now that haven't been on the line as they've made this run, and they're facing a really good opponent.
Nate does, and a lot of discussion about, who are the 4 best women's athletes at Nebraska. A lot of discussion of what that Mount Rushmore is. Does Jordy have to reach a College World Series to be on that list?
Ooh, that's a good question. Because on one hand, that feels like a stated goal, and it feels like it would be very tough to make the case for her if they don't. The case I would make, however, is that the profile of Nebraska softball was so raised by her being here, and she's at least a National Player of the Year finalist twice. One of the top 3. Sure. She very well could win it this year. I think she still has a case, but it becomes a whole lot tougher to make if they don't make Oklahoma City. I would concede that. And the other part is, you're talking about a really tough field. You're talking about all the volleyball success. You're talking about Kelsey Griffin. You're talking about Merlin Audie. You're talking about Lori Sipple, for heaven's sake.
Peaches James.
Yeah, I think that I would say you could still try to put her on that Mount Rushmore, but the case would be a lot tougher to make.
All right, Nate. Hey, we appreciate your time jumping on with us this morning.
You're the best, Nate. You're the best.
Hey, appreciate it, Michael. Appreciate
you gotta
it.
You got to get a better angle, though. It makes you like you're getting ready to go to heaven.
Yeah. The offices here at KLIN.
Don't go into the light, Nate.
Bowling might be heaven tonight.
That is true. Bowling
under the lights.
Bowling's going to be heaven tonight, long as they win. That place will be a lot of fun.
No doubt.
That presentation should be pretty awesome tonight. So,
yeah.
No doubt about it. Make sure you guys can figure out how to sync up so you can listen to Nate on the call.
Hell yeah.
Instead of some ESPN drop-ins instead.
Yeah,
you can get the visuals,
right?
But then you give yourself Nate Rohr on the call tonight.
Perfect.
On the Huskers Sports Radio Network. Nate, thank you so much for joining us here today, and best of luck here over the next 3 days calling that.
Enjoyed it, fellas. We'll see you.
Thanks, Nate. Appreciate it. Do you even know what local radio station it's on?
He was telling me the other day.
Is it 1490?
This is part of it is I think it changes a little bit. It's obviously always on.
It depends on where you are in the city too, because there's a better signal.
107.3 was one of the ones.
That's one of the signals. Yeah.
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 Other than that, no. That's one of the problems I've had with switching over.
Yeah, I know.
One, I moved communities, so then I
Yes.
have to figure out
Which
all
one,
of
yeah.
this. Two, they shifted who they were, so then
Yeah.
I have to figure out like, okay,
Yeah.
where am I going to find, Boomer, Walnut, whatever we're calling it.
The good news, it'll be fixed by football season. So.
Yeah, well, it seems
For people who want to listen over the radio that way, and it makes it a lot easier
with
actually
one of
to
the biggest
stream
signals,
it
so.
if you want to do the matching it up. Because if you were streaming TV like I am with YouTube TV and you're streaming the radio, it's easy to match up.
Yep.
So
no doubt about it. All right. That was Nate Rohr. We will step out. We'll come back. It is bracket sim time. That means we're going back.
We're doing bracket sim again?
We do it every day.
That's an everyday thing.
Every
okay, fine.
single
I'm very excited
day.
about this. Who's going to be in the final
Will
four?
it be
I don't know.
a College World Series?
Yes.
Or
Connor.
a Connor
Yeah.
World Series?
A hater receiver.
We'll
He's a
find out
hater.
ahead as we finish up Happer and Schaefer.
Sim me up, baby.
We are back one final time here. Happer and Schaefer, Michael Severe in for Connor Happer, doing as he always does, a fantastic job bringing the energy that we need here today. All right, so you've been following along with this in the StreamYard, so you don't know any more than I would whether there's an alleged charity.
I don't. I got
game.
one of these questions here from someone about this charity game they're going to play, and it's what Theo asked me. He goes, Severe, what is the best pitching approach if Happer tries to strike out Binning in the CWS Media Baseball Exhibition? Give me a scouting report. Let me first say that Damon was drafted in the Major League Baseball out of high school. Damon's still a really good athlete. Matter of fact, he's in better shape now than he was just even a year ago. He's gotten into really good shape recently.
What's he been doing?
I think more of, he only eats meat, so I think that helps a lot. I think he's running more. I don't know. He just looks like he's in better shape. But I'll tell you this. You will not get a fastball by him. I guarantee that.
Okay.
It's got to be some junk.
Well, here's
what was the name of the
problem.
guy from Major League that had the grease all over his body?
That was Eddie Harris.
He got to bring some Eddie Harris KY jelly throwing stuff to him. Yeah.
You put a little jalapeno in his
Put a little
nose.
get a little snot. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, so here's the problem for Happer. This would be the problem for anybody, is that I don't know the last time he's thrown a competitive pitch or
From a
attempted to
mound.
throw. Yeah.
Right.
Like he might have thrown off a mound. He might have
Yeah.
thrown a first pitch. He might
Right.
have done whatever that is.
Yeah.
That's a totally different world.
Yeah.
There is no way that guy doesn't have so much scar tissue in his shoulder.
Same
when
with
he
me.
goes to
Exactly.
throw.
We all do.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
We all
If,
do.
if this game happens, I will be.
Can
faster.
he reach 70 on the gun?
I doubt it.
The last time I reached 70 was 2009 at the College World Series in one of those pitching machines.
Yeah. Which who even knows on the
And that was 09. A long time ago. I could get 50 now. I only got one throw left.
My problem would be I would not want to live with how my shoulder and arm would feel should I try to get the one max throw.
Yeah.
Like that's what's like that basically ended softball for me is like I played first base largely so I didn't have to throw that much to protect my arm because I tore my labrum multiple times and still dealing with whatever. But you would have to eventually, there'd be a cutoff throw I'd need to throw home to try to get somebody.
Sure.
Put everything on it. Just one throw, and my arm would hurt for the rest of the week.
I'd say my last play, playing softball. I'm playing with Paparazzi, which is a local media team.
Okay.
I'm playing third base. Okay.
Yeah.
Ball comes to me.
Third base.
I scoop it at third, and I go to throw to first. Matter of fact, Brandy Peterson's, I believe, husband is at first. Brian is. And I bounced that thing before the mound.
Oh.
And I took off my glove and my cleats and walked mid-inning and walked away. That was my last one.
Yeah.
My arm, right now, when I do this or anything, it's so much pain.
Yeah.
In my shoulder.
I was talking to I was at a golf thing, and a guy that I went to high school with is now a physical therapist. And I was like, hey, I need some free consultation here. My shoulders are hurting really bad. I'm pretty sure my rotator cuff. And he's like, your rotator cuff is weak.
Yeah.
You need to spend 6 weeks doing band exercises. Strengthen that thing up.
Yeah.
And you'll be fine.
You'll be fine. I tried it.
I need to start
Still
doing
hurts, man.
Yeah.
It still
Mine's
hurts.
from sleeping on it. It's from like the way that I sleep. I'm a side sleeper.
Okay.
And so I screwed up one side.
Right.
Flip to the other
side. Okay.
Now they're both messed up.
Yeah. I sleep in a recliner every night. I put the pillow on top of me and I sleep like I'm dead. That's how I sleep. That's how I sleep.
I forgot about that. I forgot how
like
that
I'm
is.
dead.
Sleep like I'm dead.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's
go.
let's jump into
Connor pitched in college, Michael. That's what Mike said.
the bracket sim of the day. What do we got here? Is it going to be a College World Series, a Connor World Series? Nothing has changed, I think, from yesterday. Everything looks the same.
Nebraska is now at a 10 seed, and they got Cincinnati, Vanderbilt, and Florida Gulf Coast.
Okay, so I think
their
this is what they had for the projected, and now it's the current.
Yeah, it's the current. My eyes is on the Corvallis Regional because that has Oregon State and Oregon together, which that would be fun to watch.
Would certainly be interested. All right, we run the simulation. Nebraska.
Oh no.
Wins the Lincoln Regional, which included Cincinnati, Vanderbilt, and Florida Gulf Coast.
Vandy with the whistler.
But they lose to Texas A&M and Trev Albert.
Why?
In the Super Regional.
Why would you do this?
I didn't
Why
do
did
it.
you do
I'm
this?
just running a sim.
We're tired of A&M. What are you doing?
It is a Connor World Series today.
Damn it.
With UCLA, Georgia Tech, Mississippi State, Texas A&M, Georgia, Auburn, North Carolina, Texas. Loaded field. I wouldn't be that excited.
I need 8 minutes of him explaining to me why he doesn't want Nebraska.
He'll give it to you.
Vanderbilt gets its revenge on Nebraska, beating Nebraska in the regionals. They get to the CWS.
Why is there revenge? What's the revenge?
Basketball.
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 School revenge.
Basketball,
So my CWS is UCLA, West Virginia, Georgia, North Carolina on one side, and then Georgia Tech, Vanderbilt, Arizona State, and Texas on the other. Georgia Tech over UCLA in the championship game.
Well, I think Jeep Wade would like it.
Yeah, I'm sure he would love it.
More Jeep Wade. All right. We will run a sim on the projected, which has Nebraska, Tennessee, Gonzaga, Oral Roberts. They are the 9 seed. And they get Starkville.
Is Vandy actually in the? This guy says that
Vandy is not likely to make it.
Oh, okay. He's like, what kind of sim is this? I don't know.
They're just going off of RPI
and stuff. Okay, yeah.
It's not likely to happen that way. This has Tennessee beating Nebraska in the Lincoln Regional, then beating Arizona State, and it has UTSA and Vandy, who's probably not even going to make the tournament in the Connor World Series.
Nebraska makes it to the CWS on mine. They're in the same group as Oregon, Georgia, North Carolina, and then the other side is Oregon State, Auburn, Texas A&M, and Texas. Georgia over Texas in the championship game.
Okay.
Texas will always be in the top 3 of most hated programs by Nebraska fans. And so I don't know if that would be popular.
No, it probably wouldn't.
I was at that last time they won.
This is really that big of a hot take. I have never, maybe when it was like Chris Sims, Texas. Other than that, I didn't really have this like red hot hate of Texas the way that other people have.
Really?
Yeah.
That is unique for Nebraska fans.
No, it's super.
Do you remember those 9 years?
Yeah. Well, they never won those games. They lost them all in spectacular.
And they only one of them was really a blowout. Most of them were heartbreaking.
Right. Even 2007 was
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
2006, heartbreaking.
I get it. Oh, 2006 is like my favorite Memorial Stadium game of all time, and it's a Nebraska loss.
Started snowing. Crowd was going
the most
crazy.
amazing crowd I've ever been around.
Crazy.
I was
I had
standing.
50-yard line seats. It was incredible.
Standing right behind Terry Bowden, who said to Kevin, "I wouldn't throw the ball here. You run the ball and get out of here." And he threw the ball.
They threw the ball, and it was a great play.
And it was a great play.
And it was the perfect helmet on ball.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can
do. But he
do.
said, look, man, you want to take away as many things that can go wrong as possible.
Sure.
Run the ball, he said. And he told you,
Would
Kevin.
they have gotten the first
Told you,
down?
Kevin.
Would Brandon Jackson have gotten the first down on a carry? It's
If
3rd and 2.
Here. Say he doesn't get it.
Yeah.
You're then punting. And
Then
they got to
they're
go
further back.
They got to go the length of the
That's
field
a
to
good
get the field goal. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Was it Bailey that kicked that?
Which
one of those?
Dusty
kickers?
Magnum? Wasn't that the
That kicked it? Wasn't it Bailey? So there's 2 guys. There's a guy in the that I'm thinking of from the 1 second game, and then there's a guy from the 06 game. One of those I think is Bailey.
Yeah,
the 09 or the 06.
No, it wasn't Dusty because he was gone. He was gone in 2004 by that point. I don't know who it would have been, who the kicker was. That's always the one I remember. You're probably right. It could have been Bailey.
Because you had 2 kickers. You had the one who obviously in 2009 after the 1 second's put back on, and then you have the one in 06 after the fumble.
Nebraska's generally been on the wrong side of game-winning field goals many, many times.
Especially against Iowa.
Except for the great one against Colorado.
Yeah, except for that one.
Go back and listen to it, and you hear Adrian say, "Get there." I love that part of the call. Adrian says, "Get there."
Well, and then that touchdown and everything with Sue happens like
right after that. Didn't matter.
It didn't matter, and it doesn't erase what happened with that field goal, but it's always funny to me.
Exactly.
Like that wasn't the end of the game. There's still that little extra.
And there should have been a 15-yard penalty.
Yes.
Because he threw the ball up against the wall, which back then you couldn't do anything. And he just.
But they didn't want to call it penalty.
No. Well, he'd also stepped on somebody's chest. Yep. So the officials were afraid. They didn't want to call anything.
As they should be.
They're like, we don't want to have this guy get mad at us and kill us.
That's the right decision.
It was a good decision by them, yes.
Yep. Okay. All right. We are done for the day. Happer and Schaefer will return with Michael Severe on Friday. So prepare for that. The crossover with Matt McMaster is next.
Happer and Schaefer. It's